Good evening and welcome, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Homestead City Council presentation ceremony. And just for the record that we have to keep, today's Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, and it is, what is it? 5:05 p.m. So we are now in session, and I'll turn the mic over to Councilwoman Avila.
Hello, good evening. We are going to be recognizing a Girl Scout troop, Troop 1855, of which we have leader Claudia Zamora in the house and parents. Go ahead and come on up, girls. We're going to introduce you one by one, and we're going to talk a little bit about what a cookie business is. Come on up, come on up. And I see you have some boxes hiding on the floor over there. Why don't you go ahead and grab those boxes. So cookie season is technically over. And how long was cookie season?
It was around 6 weeks.
6 weeks. And so during that time, you probably saw several Girl Scout troops out front of Publix's, in front of AT&T. What were other places that you sold cookies at?
Winn-Dixie.
Where else? Texas Roadhouse. So plenty of community partnerships aligned with the Girl Scouts organization to give them the opportunity to sell. And so what are some of the functions or activities that you girls get to do as a result of selling cookies and raising money for your troop? Let's give the mic to cookie seller. And what's your name?
My name is Sophia Zamora, and I'm a cadet. Well, with all the money that we earn, we get to go on little troop trips that we decide together as a group, like camping or going to Girl Scout conventions that happen every 4 years.
And when is the next convention?
2026.
And where is it?
It's going to be in Washington, D.C.
So we are going to be recognizing the troop as a whole for being the top cookie selling troop for hometown cookie donations, which are going to be given to police officers, firefighters, doctors, nurses, and that was a total of 920 boxes. So they were the number one in South Florida. So let's give it a round of applause. Thank you. So that's for Troop 1855 as a whole, but specifically, Miss Sofia Zamora sold, let's see here, we have her total at 701. So out of the 920 that were sold in South Florida as the top cookie selling troop for hometown cookie donations, Miss Sofia Zamora sold 701 of those. So here's some more Girl Scouts coming up. So can you give us a little bit of like a reenactment when someone came up and they wanted to buy one box of Thin Mints? What would you say? And then how did you get them to pay more for hero donations?
Well, what I would usually do is that I would usually say my quote 4 for $20, and if they wanted to buy a $6 box, if they had any extra cash, I would tell them to put it in our local hometown heroes jar. I wanted to get enough so we can give out to our local hometown heroes to give it to everyone around.
Very good, very good. So we also have Sofia Zamora being recognized as the number 2 cookie selling scout as a whole for all of South Florida, including the Florida Keys. So congratulations, Sofia. And a little bit of cookie math, okay? In one box of Thin Mints, there's 32 delicious chocolate Thin Minty cookies, okay? We're not going to talk about calories, okay? But there's 32 cookies in a box of Thin Mints. The troop as a whole sold 13,529 boxes of cookies, of a variety. But if you just take Thin Mints for a moment and you multiply that, that comes out to 432,928 cookies individual cookies. That's a lot of cookies, girls. That's almost 500,000 delicious chocolatey Thin Mint cookies sold right here in Homestead. So if your belt is a little tight, it's not our fault only, right? But congratulations, girls. You moved a lot of cookies, a lot of money, which supports the troop, the 1855. Congratulations to the parents and to all the Girl Scouts across America that are selling and being little entrepreneurs, little leaders. And we hope that the heroes in our community get to enjoy those cookies that were purchased by people just like all of you here in our audience. And if anybody would like to participate in Girl Scouts, you can look us up online. There are many troops here in Homestead that we're very proud of. And congratulations to the parents that are dedicated, making sure that they sign up for booths, pack all the stuff in the car, haul it off, and you guys are doing a great job, so keep it up. I'm very proud of you. Congratulations. Each scout is going to get a pin. And Sophia, you have your certificate, and the troop as well. Claudia, if you want to come up and receive the certificate. And are these cookies going to be left behind or taken with you? What's the plan?
I brought, since these cookies were for our hometown heroes, we also have City Hall employees that work very hard. So I brought a little bit of every flavors. Yes, there's Samoas. There you are. So we have 9 different flavors. And like they said, we were able to reach these big numbers thanks to everybody. I think everyone here has had or has donated in some way or another Girl Scout cookies, correct? Is there anyone here who has never bought a Girl Scout cookie? That's what I thought. Good. That was a trick question, by the way. So thank you so much.
Let's take a picture, and then you'll be on your way. And if anybody would like to learn more about Girl Scouts, please see Claudia after the meeting. Thank you. And can we have maybe mayor and council also take a picture with them, probably out to the side? If you're going to stay for the meeting, that's perfectly fine. Perfect. Or stay for the rest of the presentations. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, because I know mayor and staff bought a lot of cookies too. So thank you for that.
Real quick about the cookies, we were also at Commissioner McGee's event for Women's Month, and in our goodie bag was Girl Scout cookies, so I thought that was pretty cool. Good evening, everyone. Our next presentation is for Women's Month, and this year we asked each department to nominate their Superwoman of the Month to be presented with a little gift tonight. So we've got a quick video first. Okay. So, as we call you, ladies, if you'll please come join us here. From the police department is Christine Hodges. From Electric Utility, Allie Witherell. From Procurement, Brittany Miquez. From Customer Service, Deborah Lee Thomas. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us tonight, but we congratulate her anyway. From Parks, Nancy From City Manager's Office, Pam Springle. From City Clerk's Office, Julissa Chavez.
From the Solid Waste Department, Crystal Oliveri. From IT Department, Roxanne Figueroa. From Human Resources, Priscilla Thompson. From the CRA Department, Malikwa Carter. From Finance, Carla Zavala. And from Development Services, Gladys Salas. Congratulations to these wonderful ladies that make business and the day-to-day operations within the city of Homestead happen. You have been recognized and honored tonight, and it was well-deserved, so congratulations to all of you.
I think we're missing one department.
I wonder who we could be missing.
I think we are missing the Office of Mayor and Council.
Oh, I think you're right.
Jasmine Day, get up here, please.
Yes. And lovely Janet.
Our chaos coordinator. Someone who solves problems you never knew existed in ways that will blow your mind.
Absolutely.
See also ninja, rock star, and legend. She helps put all of these things together.
And Janet, please come up. We've got something for you too. Yes, we count on you all the time. The lovely ladies of the city of Homestead. On behalf of Mayor and Council, thank you.
Your chaos coordinator cup. And I'm glad you didn't count them because there's an extra one of those in there too.
I love the way you glow, queen.
Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for working so very hard for the city of Homestead, and thank you for encouraging your whole departments. So happy Women's Month.
Let's get spiritual. This is for my glow queen, shining when the sun out. The self-love remedy, something that will run out. Aligning in your aura, standing in your essence. Your beauty is a blessing. You stay in high vibrations. Your life, you're manifesting. Through us, your world is changing. Your energies evolving. I love the way you glow, queen. Glow. I love the way you glow, queen. That goddess energy is in your soul, queen. Manifesting your reality. Say these words with me. I am perfect, well protected. I am so divine. I attract what's mine. Sexy, beautiful, confident, abundant, blessed.
That's very nice.
Grounded, stable, sacred, magical. Love. I stay in high vibrations. My life I'm manifesting. Through us my world is changing. My energy's evolving. I love the way you glow, queen. I love the way you glow, queen. And abundant, blessed, grounded, stable, sacred, magical love. Sexy, beautiful, I love the way you glow, queen, glow. I love the way you glow, queen, glow. Let's get spiritual. This is for my glow queen, shining with no sun now. The self-love remedy ain't something that will run out. Aligning in your aura, standing in your essence. Your beauty is a blessing. You stay in high vibrations. Your life, you're manifesting. Through us, your world is changing. Your energy's evolving. I love the way you glow, queen, glow.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead Local Planning Agency meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, and it is 5:30 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Bailey. Board Member Avila. Board Member Carnival. Here. Board Member Roth. Here. Board Member Davis.
Here.
Vice Chairman Fletcher.
Here.
Chairman Losner.
Here.
Ex officio Lawrence Ventura.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Director, are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals?
No, sir.
Thank you. All right, we have before us the minutes of December 13th, 2023. We have a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Board Member Roth, seconded by Vice Chairman Fletcher. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, Mr. White.
Yes, Mayor. This is the quasi-judicial section of the agenda. Please be advised that the following item on the agenda is quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon this item, please indicate that you would like to address this item when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on this item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentation on this item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the LPA to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-590, any lobbyist must register before addressing the local planning agency on Tab 2. At this time, the local planning agency members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning Tab 2. I only need disclosures on Tab 2.
I'll disclose. Tab 2. Any other disclosures with respect to Tab 2? Board Member Bailey, Board Member Cannibal, Vice Chair.
So at this time,
Board Member Roth.
Thank you. So at this time, anyone in the audience who wishes to speak or be heard on Tab 2, please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn by the clerk.
Do you hereby swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Tab 2 and Tab 3 are related items pertaining to the same parcel property. Tab 2 is the rezoning request, and Tab 3 is the legislative future land use amendment request. I can introduce both, starting with Tab 3, followed by Tab 2. You could have a collective public hearing, discussion, and then take a separate vote.
Yes, please.
So Tab 3 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map designation as requested by VARCAMP Group, LLC, of an approximately 16,875 square foot parcel of land from low residential use, LRU, to light commercial use, LCU, for property located at 60 Northeast 16th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. The related application is Tab 2. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by VARCAMP Group LLC of an approximately 16,875 square foot parcel of land from R1, one family zoning district, to restricted retail commercial B1 zoning district for property located at 60 Northeast 16th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Cordino.
Sir, we're recommending that you approve both the comp plan amendment and the zoning code amendment. Again, we're moving from in the comprehensive plan, we are moving from the light residential use to the light commercial use. In the zoning code, we're moving from the R1 district to the B1 district. That's the lightest residential district to the lightest commercial district. We've evaluated both of these changes to our comprehensive plan and our zoning code. They're compatible with the neighborhoods, and so we would be recommending approval. Again, we're going to hear this in greater detail or not at the next meeting.
Good, thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Mayor, I needed to disclose ex parte on this item.
Oh,
I just recognized.
very good. Okay. Anything further on this item for this board? Now, with respect to the comp plan change, light commercial encompasses zoning of B1A and B1, correct?
Yes, Mayor. The light commercial future land use map designation is implemented by the B1A, which is the professional business zoning district, the B1 restricted retail commercial, R4 hotel motel, and R2, which is commercial retail, but with limitations on those uses.
All right. Hypothetically, if in the course of events the comp plan change were made, but there was no finalization of a change in zoning, where would that leave the status of the residential use? Could that continue as a non-conforming use pending a zoning change to one of those other categories?
So with respect to the future land use, the comp plan change, if you all change the comprehensive plan to light commercial use, by law, the applicant's entitled to a rezoning consistent with that future land use category. Mm-hmm. Now, they may ask for something that's a higher intensity of uses, but any one of those implemented zoning districts, any one of those zoning districts that I mentioned could be implemented.
Right.
So, if you were to change the future land use designation to light commercial use, you would then be left with rezoning in a residential property that's non-conforming, right?
So let's say even if a rezoning is granted and the proposed redevelopment or reuse is not accomplished, where does that leave the legality of the residential use?
The residential use would be non-conforming and can continue to exist pursuant to your non-conforming regulations.
Right. There's always uncertainty with tenants or redevelopment. Although I believe the comp plan needs to be in consistency with the rest. The designation needs to be in consistency with the rest of the neighborhood. Any public comment? Mr. Moss, do you want to go ahead and enter your comments for the record?
John Moss. My address is 44 Northeast 16th Street. I am immediately adjacent to this property to the west. When I received the notice, the zoning notice, I thought there was an error. I thought that it was supposed to request B1A professional zoning, not restricted retail. And I called the development services, and they said, no, the applicant is asking for a greater use than the professional office use. I then called the applicant to discuss it with the applicant, and I was told, yes, I need a greater use. Number one, it will improve the value of my property, as well as I'd like to put in a daycare there. Well, that kind of set off some concerns for me, because if you're familiar with that area, we've had major problems with parking on the swales, As a matter of fact, the city across the street has had to put up 7 no parking signs all across there to stop the parking. I've had problems with the property to the west, parking in our place, parking out on the swale. The traffic is dangerous as it is. You cannot leave Chrome Terrace and try to go to 15th Street to make a left around 5 o'clock. It's just, it's dangerous. It's way too dangerous. And to see children being dropped off and picked up and a lot more traffic in the area, I don't think that neighborhood is conducive to this. I've checked every single property in that neighborhood, and they're either zoned residential or professional office use, not for that particular type of use. If you go down to, I go over to the Winn-Dixie, there's a daycare that's only a couple doors down from Lowly's where I have my breakfast. They're continually backed up in the fire lane there, dropping off and picking up children, and it's dangerous. You got cars going through there and stuff, and that's a huge parking lot that they could be utilizing. I don't know how they could, in any way, stack cars so that they could have safe and convenient drop-off of the children and pickup of the children in this area. So that's a very big concern. So anyway, another thing is if the zoning is changed, then that would permit things like bake shops, banks, cafeterias, cigar shops, clothing stores, ice cream stores, convenience stores with gas pumps, the daycare, of course, department stores, drug stores, furniture stores, grocery stores, hardwares, hotels, motels, sporting goods stores, theaters, open-air cafes and restaurants, and any commercial retail use under 10,000 square feet. You're opening up a Pandora's box. I think you're starting down a slippery slope if you do this. Everyone else is utilizing the offices for either doctor's offices, accounting offices, attorney's offices, things like that, professional use. And I think that the zoning should stay the same. And I don't think you should change the zoning for one property in the entire neighborhood. It's almost akin to spot zoning.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moss. We typically don't get this far out and deep into applications at this level, but I think it's going to be one of those exceptions. Has the applicant proffered any declaration of restrictions to limit the uses in B1?
No, sir.
Because, this council and some prior councils continually rebuffed B1 designations, even on Chrome Avenue in this corridor. For 15th Street northward, we have consistently rebuffed that more intense B1. And, Mr. Moss makes a good point that one corner, particularly that corner that size, would seem to be inconsistent and out of proportion with the rest of that neighborhood north of 15th Street in that Chrome to Chrome Terrace corridor. So, without a proffering of any restrictions of use, if the applicant wishes to come forward and weigh in at this point, welcome the applicant's representative to come forward. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, Council. My name is Karen Campbell, and I am the company representative. I actually I'm a member of the owners of the property. We are here because, yes, we've applied for the rezoning of the property. The daycare, which was mentioned by Mr. Moss, is a potential tenant that we have. And to put them to jump through hoops through the special exception is going to be an issue for them to be able to open up a business. And the daycare falls under the B1A special exemption, but it also falls under the B1. So we're just looking for a more ample ordinance so that we can make this easier for a tenant. We've had a lot of tenants or prospects who are fearful of the process with the city. And that is the reason why we're asking for the more ample ordinance.
Any questions from the board with respect to that conversation? Mr. Vice Chair?
That's not really a question, more of a concern. Again, I think it's out of character for the area to be utilizing that location as a daycare. I'm sorry, that is out of character for the neighborhood that it's currently at. A daycare in that area, you have residential right across the street. You have a busy city facility that's also right across the street that I think is not conducive to safety for a daycare facility, as well as some of the concerns that Mr. Moss and some of the other persons in that area have told us about. So I will not be able to support this particular item at this time. Thank you.
To clarify, that's the rezoning. I mean, the comp plan designation is currently inconsistent with the rest of that entire corridor.
May I ask a question? I'm sorry. So we're talking about the rezoning from the residential to the commercial, because the entire block is B1A. We're the only parcel that's residential. The only parcel on the entire block. Everybody else is a B1A. We are residential. So let's forget about the daycare. You want to talk about a professional? I don't have an issue. A chef is a professional. And under your B1A, you have professional personnel. But a chef can't open up a restaurant because the restaurant falls under the B1. So there's a lot of inconsistencies as well here. And what we're asking for is to be equal to the rest of the neighborhood. And right now, we're beneath. We're residential. We're not commercial.
And again, I have to agree with Mr. Moss that equal to the rest of the neighborhood would be B1A.
Okay.
You know, limited to professional office without those heavier commercial uses. You know, without any restriction of record, a B1 allows, you know, scores of uses that I think we can all agree are not compatible with the neighborhood or even appropriate for that location, but just a blanket B1 zoning would provide you with the right to do that if you could fit them within that box. I think that's what we're struggling with here, is the distinction between B1A, generally professional office, and B1, which is, you know, exponentially heavier than B1A. And certainly I think that my opinion is that if we can find things that from our outdated code, find uses in B1 that are probably more appropriately in B1A, and maybe that's some future code amendments to resolve that inconsistency. For example, B1A, attorney's offices, B1, title companies and abstract companies. In this day and age, there's, you know, title companies. There's, you know, those of us who are attorneys say there are differences, but what we do there and the traffic it generates is really one and the same. So, you know, in that regard, I think it's fair for us to look at meshing B1A and some of the B1 uses, but as B1 that's applied for at this point is written, I don't remember who said it, but it really would open a Pandora's box there. And there's been no proffering of any limitation of the uses in B1.
Mayor, may I, if you don't mind? Thank you. Is there an opportunity to defer the item so that they can try to go back and reconsider some potential profferings versus, I'm just thinking along the lines of the amount of investment that has been made in paying for the application, the processing, the time, and the effort in trying to submit a complete application, and that maybe there really wasn't enough time to think about, okay, let's go over the uses, let's continue the conversations, let's figure out what is best for this particular pocket of our downtown. That would be a more, you know, cohesive plan for success. What I don't want to do is have you walk away with a rejection tonight. So if you want to call the vote, then it probably is going to fail. But if you want to get a deferral, have some more time to keep the application alive, and work out some of these wrinkles and then bring it back.
And that would be with respect to the rezoning, I
Right.
suspect. I mean, I don't know that any of us have an issue. I think we have more of an issue with the incompatible land use designation that currently exists on this property.
Is that an option, Mayor, that we can let them do that?
It's two separate applications, and that's the first item we have to address tonight anyway, is the FLUM designation. So we could go forward with that, and upon request, we could defer the rezoning request.
I'd like to ask one last question, though. Under the B1A, you have, as I mentioned, professional personnel. By trade, I'm a musician. I have a degree from the University of Miami, a master's in music. So I am a professional. I've actually performed at the Seminole here years ago. But if I wanted to open up a conservatory or a school of fine arts, I wouldn't be able to as a professional under B1A because conservatories fall under the B1. So who has the weight? Me, the professional or the company?
And that's a very good point. And again, as I said a few moments ago, I think conceptually there are items that are precluded under B1A that should be included. And we can get to that. Absolutely. You know, you're right. Conservatories, music schools, what have you. We can address that. But a blanket B1, I don't feel as though that's in the cards for you tonight. So the applicant has requested a deferral of tab 2, the rezoning. Okay, we can, right.
Thank you.
All right, so we need a motion to defer tab 2, the rezoning request. So it's moved by Board Member Avila, seconded by Board Member Cannibal. Any further questions or comments from the board? Any public comment? All right, so let's have a roll call on the deferral of tab 2.
Board Member Cannibal? Yes. Board Member Roth?
Yes.
Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Bailey? Yes. Board Member Avila? Yes. Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
So now we have before us a tab 3, which is amending the comp plan future land use map from low-density residential to light commercial use. So moved by Board Member Bailey, seconded by Board Member Avila. Any further discussion? Public comment? Close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Roth? Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Avila? Board Member Cannibal? Yes. Board Member Bailey? Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. So at our regular meeting, we will not hear the rezoning, but the amendment to the FLUM designation will go forward in a few minutes. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. White, tab 4.
Yes, moving on. So tab 4, tab 5, and tab 6 are all interrelated, pertaining to the same proposed project, this Touching Miami with Love. In order to achieve their proposed affordable housing development, it necessitates changes to the comprehensive plan, to the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan, and to the zoning code. So I can introduce each one of those, collectively discuss, and take a vote.
Let's go for it.
Tab 4 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Comprehensive Plan by amending the text of the Planned Urban Neighborhood Future Land Use category contained in Objective 2, Policy 2.1, to permit affordable housing with a maximum net density of 25 dwelling units per acre on property within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood, providing for transmittal of this ordinance to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity and all other units of local government or governmental agencies as required under Chapter 163, Part 2, Florida statutes, providing for adoption pursuant to Florida statutes, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan, providing for appeal of conflicts, severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 5 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan by amending regulations governing building frontages, general standards, sub-area zoning, and building type for the civic government sub-area, and providing for conflicts, providing for severability, inclusion in the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan, and providing for an effective date. And finally, tab 6 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 Zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 19, GP Government Property District, Section 30-382, Affordable Housing, Division 23, Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.40, Maximum Density, Section 30-396.44, Maximum Density, Section 30-396.61, Affordable Housing, Section 30-396.62, Subareas, Article 4, Supplemental District, Division 3, Density, Section 30-457, Maximum Density Established, Article 5, Non-conforming lots, uses, and structures, Section 30-553, exception of affordable housing, all to permit affordable housing with maximum net density of 25 dwelling units per acre on property within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Guardino.
Thank you. To simplify matters, no, what the attorney said is exactly correct. In the Southwest neighborhood, to make changes, we have to change three things. We have to change the comprehensive plan, we have to change the master plan, then we have to change the zoning code. So this does all of those three things. What the applicant wants to do is develop 100 units of affordable housing on about 4.2 acres of land. Right now, that land is in the Southwest neighborhood. To permit the affordable housing, they want to do it with a maximum density of 25 dwelling units per acre. Right now, the units per acre in the Southwest neighborhood are about 15 to 20. It can be 15, it can be as high as 20. So this would be 5 higher than the highest. The proposed text amendment would again permit affordable housing for uses for permits affordable housing use for parcel zone civic government within the Southwest Planned Unit or Urban Neighborhood District subarea, and establishes the maximum density for affordable housing uses in that area as 25 dwelling units per net acre, provided that all those residential units shall be reserved, dedicated, and restricted exclusively for uses of affordable housing for a minimum period of 15 years. So since this is discretionary, we're recommending that you consider it. But it is roughly in line with your densities that you currently have in the neighborhood, which the high right now is 20.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from the board? Sure. Board Member Bailey.
Thank you. A quick question for staff. Are there any other parcels that, if this does go through, that we would have to worry about that might not fit?
It would be all of the civic government parcels. So if we find our map in the, well, let's see if we have the Southwest area map. Actually, in our map that we have here, we're just showing the Southwest neighborhood. We're not showing all of the specific parcels. But yes, here we are. On page 2 of the car, the civic government, I believe, is that the purple? So they're about,
But this is limited to the Southwest neighborhood.
Yeah, it's limited to the Southwest neighborhood, and in all those civic government, I believe there are about 4 large parcels in that area that would be impacted by this.
Most of them are, I think we own a couple of them. So
I just wanted to say, in case that should be a discussion item, if there was an opportunity to only approve it for this specific lot, if we wanted to consider that.
This is about as detailed as you can get because you're just taking one specific category.
Right.
And otherwise, it might be spot zoning.
Okay. If we're going to discuss it further at the council meeting, that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. I just, conceptually, this is a little bit higher density than I'm generally comfortable with.
Okay.
But for me, this is an extension and complementary of the Homestead Gardens project that was before us a year and a half, 2 years ago. That this is filling that need. It's helping provide to replace mostly replace and provide just a few more units for the residents of that area. So, you know, the phrase that I've coined is locationally appropriate. But, Mr. Good, is there anybody here from Public Works, as this goes forward, are we going to run into are they going to run into any of these lift station, wastewater type capacity moratorium issues that others seem to be facing throughout the city?
So I'll defer to Mr. Gonzalez in Public Works. There are a few areas with restrictions. I'm not sure which basin this particular parcel falls in.
You know, we need to all be very clear that this faces that additional issue after these approvals.
Hello, Mayor. Quick answer, no. I'm actually working on the basin plan for all of our lift stations right now. This particular lift station is lift station 15, which should be coming off of the moratorium list here within the next month or two.
Very good. I think that's good news for Homestead Gardens and this project as well. So thank you. Just wanted to it's a good update. Appreciate it. Okay. Is there any public comment? All right. Hearing none then, and we need to take them in the order they're presented, 4, 5, and 6. Is that correct? All right, do we have a motion on tab 4? Moved by Board Member Bailey. Second by Board Member Cannibal. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Bailey? Yes. Board Member Roth?
Yes.
Board Member Cannibal? Yes. Board Member Avila? Yes. Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, do we have a motion on tab 5? Moved by Board Member Bailey.
Second.
Second by Board Member Davis. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Avila? Yes. Board Member Cannibal? Yes. Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Roth? Board Member Bailey? Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And do we have a motion on tab 6? Moved by Board Member Bailey. Seconded by Board Member Cannibal. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Roth? Yes. Board Member Bailey? Board Member Avila? Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Cannibal? Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, very good. And the final item on the LPA agenda, tab 7, Mr. White.
Yes, tab 7 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 12, B2 Retail Commercial District, Section 30-276B, uses permitted as of right, by removing self-service storage facilities as a permitted use, in Division 23, Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.34, permitted uses, prohibiting self-service storage facilities, and Section 30-396.42, subareas, prohibiting self-service storage facilities within the commercial industrial subareas of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood. Article 4, Supplemental District Regulations, Division 2, Off-Street Parking, Section 30-433, Off-Street Parking Area Requirements in all districts by modifying the off-street parking area requirements related to self-service storage facilities. And Division 9, Mixed-Use and Non-Residential Development Standards, Section 30-542, Self-Service Storage Facilities, modifying the development standards related to self-service storage facilities, and further amending Article 6, Planned Unit Development, Section 30-570, Permitted Uses, prohibiting self-service storage facilities, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Cordino.
Yes, sir. In January, we received the request for direction from the council to kind of look back into the code and kind of regulate the oversaturation and proliferation of self-storage facilities. So in doing that, we went back through the code, we combed through it, and as James said, we removed them as a right uses. We removed them from the mixed use and non-residential areas. We removed them, and we set parking standards and made sure that we understood that their only parking standards are there for things in the DRI. So with that, I think we've kind of narrowed the scope of where these things can be, and recommend you consider this. We're here to answer questions.
Good. Thank you, sir. Okay. Any questions or comments from council? All right, Mr. Proctor, let's go ahead and air this one out, and maybe you can be home before dark rather than wait for the regular agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Jerry Proctor, attorney, 7600 Red Road, South Miami. Mr. Mayor and Council, I'm joined by my client, Brett Houston, tonight. Mr. Houston and our team have had an application pending in your Development Services Department for an as-of-right self-storage development that has been in the planning stages for about 15 months. The application has been in Development Services for about 12 months. We've been through 2 DRC cycles. We've satisfied all of the comments of the departments. We have one issue remaining that deals with a pump station problem, which we knew about going in, and we're working to solve that issue together with the city and the county. We are asking, therefore, to the mayor and council that applications that are complete, that have been through this level and length of review, be exempt from future consideration of change of zoning for self-storage, that we be allowed to complete the process, which we will do and hopefully be successful. It is an administrative process, and we hope to be in the administrative permitting process certainly this year to develop under the code. We have been in the process, as I said, for quite some time, and we think it is fair and equitable to allow us to complete that process. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me turn to our attorneys or the development director. Do we have that fail-safe in place for this kind of situation? Or so the gate closes, he's out of luck?
Well, normally, if you were to approve this, the gavel drops and the project is still in play, then the law that is on the books applies. In this case, I've spoken to Mr. Proctor. He and his client have been in the process for a significant amount of time. I think the only thing, to my understanding, the only thing that is left to be addressed is the sewer issue with respect to the pump station moratorium and issues between what his client's going to do for wastewater in the interim. So if you are inclined to waive or exempt the application of this to Mr. Proctor's client's administrative site plan application, I could add language or provision to this ordinance for second reading that would do that.
Are there any others similarly situated? Nothing.
This is the only one. The reason it's been in so long is it's just it doesn't have pump station capacity, so
right.
it won't go anywhere till that's cured.
Right. Well, you know, and making the analogy to our moratorium discussion, it only seems to be fair and equitable and right to draw that line in favor of this application, if that's the. Okay. So you would, as we adopt this, you would need some direction, a motion that would include that exemption?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I could just work out that language between now and second reading.
Very good. Someone want to make that motion?
I will happily make that motion.
Moved by Councilwoman Bailey with the requested exception. Seconded by Board Member Cannonball. Any public comment? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Cannonball, Board Member Bailey, Board Member Davis.
Yes.
Board Member Avila. Yes. Board Member Roth. Yes. Vice Chairman Fletcher.
Yes.
Chairman Losner.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for coming down tonight. Anything further, Mr. Director?
No, sir.
Mr. Attorney?
Nothing.
Nothing further. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the local planning agency meeting. Moved and seconded. All in favor? We will adjourn the regular council meeting in just a few moments. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order. It is still Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, and it is now 6:15 p.m. This evening, we'll have the invocation given by Pastor Howard Harden, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Homestead, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Cannonball and the Homestead Police Explorers. Would you please rise?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we pause before you to acknowledge you and to thank you for being the giver of good things. We thank you for giving us life. We thank you for the gift of your love. We thank you for the gift and the blessing of living in this great city. And we thank you for who you are. You are all powerful, able to strengthen us in every trial. You are all knowing, able to guide us in any situation. You are all wise, able to solve any problem. And we do face numerous challenges. Those challenges are real, but God, we thank you because you are greater. And on that basis, we lift up these public servants and the business that is before us tonight. Scriptures remind us that the governing authorities are your minister that you use in order to carry out your purposes. And so we ask, therefore, that you would guide all that they say and do and give them wisdom from on high for every decision that will be made, that they would be made in the best interest of this community. We thank you for them, and I pray these things in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis.
Here.
Councilwoman Avila. Here. Councilwoman Bailey. Here. Councilman Cannonball. Councilman Roth. Here. Vice Mayor Fletcher. Present. Mayor Losman.
Here. All right. There's that time of the night where we have general public comments limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Of items of general interest. If you are here for a specific item, you will have agenda item an opportunity to speak at that time. The first registered speaker tonight is Mr. Manuel Mendoza regarding World Theater Day. Are you here, Mr. Mendoza? Good evening and welcome. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Manuel Mendoza. I am theater director and producer, and I represent the Ruta Teatral organization. We promote every theater in the South Florida, and every March 27 celebrate the World Theater Day in the South Florida. Okay, the next Wednesday we have 10 shows in different cities in Miami-Dade County. Okay, and Doral, Hialeah, Little Havana, downtown Miami, Kendall, and here in Homestead we have a play in the Seminole Theater free for the community. Okay, every place is free for the community. So this is our third edition. So we need support with the pay for the theater and talent fee. So if we need support for different private companies and Cultural Affairs Miami-Dade County, Florida, Arts, different cities.
All right. What's the play that you'll be presenting at the Seminole? The name of the play?
Yeah, the play.
No.
Mr. Hate is the play. It's a play about emotion. It's a familiar place. It's a play for every people. It's a beautiful play.
Very good. Thank you. We certainly want to promote the arts and culture here in Homestead, and thank you for partnering with the Seminole to do that for us.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yes, Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. If I'm not sure if anybody attended any of the previous ones, but I know that the first year I helped sponsor, Manuel has done a great job with reaching out to nursing homes. All of the plays are always multi-generational. And I think everybody would agree that to be able to have something of this caliber for our Hispanic community is a great thing. So I would like you to consider, if you would all help me and pitch in $150, that will help with most of the fees that he needs to pay for the Seminole Theater. He does a great job reaching out to schools, the nursing homes, so I think it's a great thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is Mr. Carlos Martinez. Mr. Martinez, are you here? Hi, come on down. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, Council staff. Nice to meet you. Carlos Martinez, 2132 Homestead. I'm a resident of Homestead and a homeowner at Redland Reef, a small community located on the county borderline in the northwest area of Homestead. This beautiful and peaceful community has been impacted by the recent addition of 13 traffic calming devices, speed bumps, that were placed without a permit and no notice to the homeowners. We were notified the morning of that they were installed. I know these considered private roads. However, they are not restricted access and are used by neighboring communities. It is a thorough street between Southwest 187th, 192nd Ave. The permit was applied for after the speed bumps were installed and only because the community members complained to the building and zoning. More importantly, there are serious issues with bumps that were installed, and I would like to bring these issues to the Commission. The issues are the bumps extend all the way to the road edges with no swale or sidewalk. They have no break in them for bicycle riders, no for people walking or handicapped, especially ADA members that we have in our community. They impede drainage as we're in a flood zone, and the community includes a number of French drains. They were installed during a seal coating process, which the seal coating material was sprayed on and into the French drains, possibly coating the bottom of the materials and making them impermeable. Also, Northwest 21st Street has a speed limit of 20 miles per hour, and these bumps reduce us to 5 to 10. And my final concern as a fireman for 22 years is that these 13 speed bumps severely increase the response times for emergency vehicles. Bumps can increase up to 3.25 minutes to the farthest home in our community. I have a lot of research from the Florida DOT. The process of the calming devices was not followed. According to the Florida DOT Green Book, Chapter 15, Traffic Calming Devices and Other Local Requirements, emergency services and entities were not consulted. The permit is now in review process, and I'm asking that this matter is looked into for the safety and well-being of our community. When emergencies occur, access to critical patients or homes on fire are paramount. I've been there and witnessed it before over my 22-year career. Life and death can depend on a matter of minutes. I'm not against these speed bumps. We do have a speeding problem down 21st Street. So I want to see the project done correctly. If it needs to be redone all over and we have to pay for it, it is what it is. But definitely, when we call 911, my biggest concern is that when you call 911, we need immediate, not delayed response. With that being said, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. So was this installation initiated by your HOA or was this done? Okay. So they did it. This was not a city project, correct?
It was not a city project. It was an HOA, but they completely went under our nose, and the day of, they notified us saying they were doing seal coating. They had an opening today, and then they installed these without a permit. I'm the one that found the violation from the city. I pulled it off of the entrance. I took pictures of it. I contacted the HOA management company, and I've done my due diligence and research to ensure that the project gets done correctly.
So a violation has been issued, is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
I have all the documents and records with me. I can email them to whoever in the city.
Very good.
And if you'd like to, Mr. Gonzalez from our Public Works Department will speak with you after this so that we have all of your
I
information.
have the permit numbers and everything. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful evening.
Appreciate it. All right, that concludes the pre-registered speakers. Is there anyone else in the House or online wishing to speak? Hi, good evening. Welcome.
Hi, good evening.
We can see you and probably that allows us to see you and probably hear you a little better.
Thank you. My name is Tamika Smith. I'm the owner of Get Your Roll on Ice Cream, located here in Homestead, Florida. The reason that I am here is because of the incident that occurred February 29th, where an attempt was made to retrieve a grease trap from my property, and officers turned the individual away because he did not have a proper court order document, nor did he have a permit to remove that. On March 13th, the individual came back with a piece of paper that was not a court order, nor with a permit. Homestead Police Department allowed them to take the equipment. Not only did they do that, the officers did not honor my protective services, my protective restraining order against an individual. My business has been closed since March the 13th. My business has been fined by Miami-Dade County and Durham. Today, the owner and myself has received a fine from the city of Homestead and has been sentenced to court. After I spoke to this officer and I told him that was what he was doing was a violation, and that I asked him, can they contact developmental services, and I asked him, can they contact code enforcement officers? They did not listen to me. The officer allowed him to remove the equipment without proper documentations or anything. So now I am left with all of this mess, and I would like to know who's going to be held responsible for this, because I did not dig that up. I did not give authorization to do that. Thank you.
Is there anyone who could shed any light on this incident, either police department or development services? So was this, I guess, an eviction or a repossession? Is that?
This was a civil matter, something that was supposed to be handled out in civil court, which I tried to explain to the officers, the responding officers. And my restraining order was placed. I had a restraining order in place as well. That didn't get.
So
typically, the grease traps aren't a development services issue. I believe they've got to go through Durham and the county to permit that. So, we wouldn't be involved with this from an approval point of view unless it was in the site plan originally.
This was a retrieval of a portable grease trap? Is that?
No, it was not. It was dug up with a bulldozer. It was dug up with a bulldozer.
So now she has rocks, and she's being fined daily because it was not done properly. The repossession was done without proper notice. It should have proper protocol where she's supposed to call someone before she digs. So now there is debris, there is rocks, and she is being fined daily because of this incident. The first officer that came out told them that they did not have a permit, they did not have proper protocol or anything to dig. When they came with an amateur police officer, he did not accept her protective order. She had a restraining order against the individual. He told her that the paperwork that he had was sufficient, and it was not.
Okay. The address of your business again?
1541 Southeast 12th Avenue, Homestead, Florida, 33034.
Mayor,
what commercial?
It's Audubon Plaza.
Out of my curiosity is what area? Okay. The old plaza behind the Villages. Okay. All right. Mr. Good.
Mayor, we'll have PD Captain DeJohn will meet with you all now and get your information so that we can follow up on this matter, and anything that we need to do on the city side, we'll make sure it gets done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you all. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Mayor, I just wanted to say, please keep us posted also. That was one of our business incentive grants was for that shop. So I would really like to know what happens. Thank you.
Right.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council. Dr. James Eric McDonough, 32320 Southwest 199th Avenue. You guys might have seen some of the emails I sent out recently. I filed a public records request. It appeared there was some confusion in the city. I had emailed City Attorney Matt Pearl, and he said he would look into it and get back to me the next day. And instead of acting in good faith, Mr. Pearl then went with Attorney Eric Stetton behind my back and filed an emergency motion for protective order, which is a violation of the law, which I made Mr. Pearl aware of. This is under Promenade de Iberville LLC versus Sunday. You cannot delay production of records to seek court challenge to disclosure. Mr. Pearl emailed me and told me that the city would follow the ruling of the judge. The judge ruled and blocked the plaintiffs and the plaintiff's family. This is related to the case where the 3 kids were chased into the canal and Homestead police officers watched them drown. I'm trying to get the deposition of Ryan Cawley because I'm fairly sure Ryan Cawley committed perjury in his deposition the same way he falsified his reports, which we only were able to determine when I had sued the city in another records request and the city was found to unlawfully have withheld the records and given them to me. I gave the city a deadline till 5 p.m. last Friday because you guys were not involved, and these are employees that work directly for you that I'll give you guys till 5 p.m. this Friday to have that deposition provided to me, or I'll be forced to sue the city again. And I'm going to win, and then I'm going to seek an injunction to stop your attorneys from continuing to violate the law because they are knowingly, willfully, and deliberately violating the law. In your name. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. If you wish.
Just to clarify a few points, because there were some inaccuracies in the statement. The motion for protective order was, original motion for protective order was filed for in January, long before Mr. McDonough had filed. Ruling had not been rendered. When the request came in, which was predicted in the initial motion for protective order, the city sought a ruling and filed an emergency order to encourage the judge to do that. And the judge issued an order which you were all copied on the same email, saying that the deposition should be sealed until further court order. Now, I don't tend to comment on ongoing litigation, but we go to court, we presented a case, the judge agreed. It may not hold forever, but in the short term, this is what the judge has ruled, and we're going to honor that.
Very good. And I know you'll keep us up to date. Thank you. Any further public comment? Anyone else wishing to speak? Any other public comment? I will now close the public comment section of the agenda. Our next item is tab 1, and that's a presentation regarding the South Corridor Bus Rapid Transit Project update.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening. Welcome.
We have the Miami-Dade County Department of Transit and Public Works here to present on this matter.
Good evening, Mayor and the council members. I'm here from DTPW to present the South Corridor Rapid Transit Project. And I have my colleague Patricia. She's with Cultural Affairs Chief, and she'll be presenting the art in public places. Yep. So the key elements of the project are we have a central level boarding stations. we have signature wall design that is distinguishable, and we have allowed expandability to rail. Vestibules are situated to one side of the station, allowing expansion to occur in opposite direction. And there'll be reduced noise disturbance to surrounding residential communities by deploying all electrical buses, and the bells will be silenced near the neighborhoods. The cost of the project is $284 million. We have 3 funding partners, which is Transit Agency, FDOT, and the county for the project. It provides a significantly enhanced transit service to the South Dade, and we already have achieved the Silver Envision certificate, and we are trying to achieve the gold standard for this project. On the right, you may see some pictures of the stations lit at night, and we have a parking garage that's on 168th Street, 5-level story. It's part of the project. This slide shows the operating of the buses. It's preemption in the mornings and in the evenings on the peak direction, whichever the peak, and off peak we have 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and it will be TSP. In the morning and on northbound we'll have preemption, and on the south side, and in the evening on the southbound we'll have preemption. We are trying to achieve the headways in both directions is 7.5 minutes. We'll have that, and by doing this, we'll be going from Southwest 344th Street to Dadeland South Station in about 50 minutes, which takes about a little bit over an hour now. And we have some animations here of the scene.
Can you repeat the time that you just said to the Dadeland North Station?
About in the mornings during the peak hours, we are doing preemption that will trigger the signal and give priority to the buses. With that, it's about 50 minutes.
50.
And these are the animations showing different scenarios of how the buses will operate during the peak hour.
During the afternoon peak period, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., the Metro Express service heading in the southbound direction will activate a traffic signal preemption when approaching the intersection. At a predetermined distance from the intersection, the bus crosses the geofence check-in point, transmitting a signal to the nearby traffic controller to initiate the preemption phase. This preemption phase will immediately override the normal signal timing sequence of the intersection. The lights on the gate arms will begin to flash, and all cross-street traffic will come to a stop via the traffic signals changing from green to red. The crossing gate arms will then be activated to come down for additional safety measures. This action is estimated to take approximately 10 seconds. To provide time for vehicles to clear the intersection box, additional time is provided before the signals on the transitway change from a horizontal bar, signifying stop, to a vertical bar signifying go. The timing of the sequence is designed to allow the Metro Express service to proceed through the intersection without stopping at the intersection. After the bus passes through the intersection, the transitway signal will change from a vertical bar to a horizontal bar. The gate arms will be raised and the normal signal timing sequence will be reinstated.
This is a scenario 2 where we have a TSP during off-peak hours.
During the morning peak period 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Metro Express service heading in the southbound direction will activate a traffic signal priority or TSP when approaching the intersection. At a predetermined distance from the intersection, the bus crosses the geofence check-in point, transmitting a signal to the nearby traffic controller to initiate the TSP phase. The bus will have to come to a complete stop until the request is granted. This TSP phase will alert the traffic control system that the bus would like to receive priority. The normal signal timing sequence of the intersection will make provisions to include the request. Once granted, the lights on the gate arms will begin to flash, and all cross-street traffic will come to a stop via the traffic signals changing from green to red. The grade crossing gate arms will then be activated to come down for additional safety measures. This action is estimated to take approximately 10 seconds. To provide time for vehicles to clear the intersection box, additional time is provided before the signals on the transitway change from a horizontal bar, signifying stop, to a vertical bar, signifying go. The timing of the sequence will allow the Metro Express service to then proceed through the intersection. After the bus passes through the intersection, the transitway signal will change from a vertical bar to a horizontal bar. The gate arms will be raised, and the normal signal timing sequence will be reinstated.
And this is the last scenario where we show you the bus coming to a station and how the station looks inside the vestibule.
During the morning peak period 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Metro Express service heading in the northbound direction will activate a traffic signal preemption when approaching the intersection. From the perspective of a transit passenger, individuals looking to ride the BRT Metro Express service will proceed down the center walkway and enter the fare collection area, where they can purchase a transit pass at the ticket vending machines or continue through the fare gates either by using smart cards, credit cards, or transit app on their phones. Immediately after passing through the fare gates, passengers will enter the air-conditioned vestibule where they can either wait for their bus or proceed directly to the platform. While in the vestibule waiting area or on the platform, passengers can view real-time bus information on the monitors located overhead. A public address system will also announce pertinent bus information. With the platform height set to provide level boarding, passengers can easily exit and enter the buses through all doors, ultimately enhancing service efficiency. Upon leaving the station, the bus will transmit a signal to the nearby traffic controller to initiate the preemption phase. This preemption phase will immediately override the normal signal timing sequence of the intersection. The lights on the gate arms will begin to flash, and all cross-street traffic will come to a stop via the traffic signals changing from green to red. The grade crossing gate arms will then be activated to come down for additional safety measures. This action is estimated to take approximately 10 seconds. To provide time for vehicles to clear the intersection box, additional time is provided before the signals on the transitway change from a horizontal bar, signifying stop, to a vertical bar, signifying go. The timing of the sequence is designed to allow the Metro Express service to proceed through the intersection without stopping. After the bus passes through the intersection, the transitway signal will change from a vertical bar to a horizontal bar. The gate arms will be raised, and the normal signal timing sequence will be reinstated.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
When are we going to see the BRT vehicles right outside our window here, going up and down the
Most
busway?
likely by summer end of this year.
Summer of this year.
This
Have
year
the
or end of this year.
have the buses been ordered?
Huh?
Have the buses been picked out and ordered yet?
We have started to receive pilot buses, and we are testing that as we speak. We have received the pilot buses, the test buses,
Okay.
and once all the bugs are taken out, we'll be going for full production on the buses.
Right. and I know this just happened, I guess, yesterday, but is there any thought of how the county changing vendors for the synchronization of all of the intersections in the county will impact this synchronization and the start date of VRT? It seems that they've, almost going to go back and reinvent the wheel with a new vendor based on their action at the commission yesterday.
I think they're working out how they will be doing that. I don't have the details, but as soon as I have that, I'll inform you, people.
And I'm sure Councilman Roth would probably want to jump in here because I know outside of his office window there's terrible synchronization and issues that have got to be resolved.
Not only the synchronization, we did meet with the county, was it last? I think it was last week. You were with us again, and staff was out there to evaluate the backup that was occurring from Flagler all the way back to Chrome Avenue. The next day they sent out 4 or 5 county vehicles, and the timing on the light has been corrected. But it wasn't a busway light. It was the light that was on Northeast on First Road. The other issue we have there, and I mentioned it to him today, and I've already mentioned it to Zach, of the numerous numbers of accidents we have in that specific area with not the timing of the lights, but being able to see the lights as you approach them. And we met with the county and DOT, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, and with no offense to those that are standing here today, it was an excuse fest of we can't do this because of that, or we can't adjust it because the engineers say that these are the proper lights for people to see. And I'm like, well, if you drive this road on a daily basis in the afternoon when the sun is setting, you can't see the lights at all. There are times during the day that you approach and you're within 15, 20 feet of the light to traveling at 30, 35 miles an hour, and you can't stop in time. And I know that the police department would back us up that I think the day that we actually did the correction, or the next day that we did the correction on the timing of the lights, we had 4 or 5 accidents in that intersection. So in the same day, yes. So not very serious ones. There have been some serious accidents there, but that's just something to continuously work on. Because I know that the timing and the adjustments they've been making, now that we get the light fixed, they're doing construction right there on the road. They're blocking off one of the lanes, so that helps with accidents that you just can't get through there anyways at this point. But I do have to give them and commend them for actually getting out there the next morning and at least correcting the timing issues that we had there. So I don't know what happened at the commission meeting yesterday with changing of vendors, whether they were the old vendors or these were the new vendors or who they were, but they were county trucks, and they did come out and address that situation for us. And for that, I'm thankful. Once the project gets completed, that's whole nother story.
Yeah,
so
my thought is that the synchronization of these gate arms and the signalization on the busway all have to be tied to the synchronization.
Yes, it's
of the intersection lights.
There will be, some of that, and I think that the county will probably have a good hand at that, and they're not going to close all the gates the same day. They open intersections as they go along to make sure those things get worked out. As we look at the conceptual videos of what is supposed to happen, it's going to be interesting to watch to see what really does happen until they get it worked out. Because I know it's a big project, and we've been waiting a long time for it. We'd much rather all have Metro Rail overhead and not have to worry about traffic stopping and all this, but we'll see, and we'll have to adjust as things happen.
Well, and we're, one thing I think, one intersection we're going to probably be talking to you about in the future is 15th Street and US 1. When you add the factor of,
you
that
got
little
15th
stretch
Street
between the Burger King and where.
That one's bad, and also 11th Street is pretty bad right now, too. So,
as well.
Yeah, so maybe there'll be a coordinated effort between the county as you open up these gates and our staff so we can help monitor traffic flow and things like that, because it's been pretty rough the last 3 or 4 months in the evenings on 11th Street, and Campbell Drive is a little bit clearer now, but 11th Street seems to be backing up because the timing on the US 1 light. So the US 1 light's not allowing the east-west flow to go. So And unless somebody's sitting there all day long, they don't realize those things. But I know that's not your department. But I appreciate the quickness in our staff getting out there and helping us get this rectified.
We know you came down here to talk about BRT, but we've got a high-level county employee in front of us, and we're going to
no problem.
Get our two say. And just a quick observation. You talked about 50 minutes from here to Dadeland North. And cost of driving aside. Yesterday morning, I left my home right at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to a 9:30 commission meeting. It took me about 50 minutes to get to Dadeland North by driving. So, time is value, just like paying for gasoline and insurance is a value, and I hope that we can accelerate those times to provide incentives for more people to utilize the BRT. I mean, it says clearly either you underbuilt the Dadeland North garage or you've got a lot better ridership on Metro Rail now, because if you get there after 8 o'clock in the morning, there's no parking spaces left.
Yes.
But,
all right. We'll look into that, sir.
But tag, you're it. We get to vent. So let's hear about your art in public places in connection with the BRT.
I had a question, Mayor, if I could, before we start with the art. On the intersection of 296 and US 1, where the park and ride is, off to the side, there's just where all the debris is piled up. I'm assuming that'll be removed. Is that going to be an extension of the park and ride at into that area? Is that going to be properly paved over?
No, we are going. That is construction debris from my project. We'll be removing that.
Correct, but after it's moved, is it going to be used as a continuation of the park and ride lot that's already existing?
I have to look into that, but I don't think so. I think they have some other plans, but I'm not sure on that.
Okay. And I can address that real quick. And unfortunately, and this was part of our Transportation Planning Organization agenda last week, there was a replacement of the 200 space park and ride lot at that BRT station, where there doesn't seem to be a lot going on lately other than more debris piling up. The Department of Transportation defunded that. Someone convinced them that it would be underutilized, and now that site, together with the old Sunset English and Western Wear site and the site to the north of that, are slated for one of these ridiculous transit-oriented developments that'll bring nothing but more crowding and congestion and crime to our community. So to answer, and I was, only Commissioner Garcia and I dug in and voted against that. Not only that, the $1.7 million or whatever it was that was allocated for that project gets put back into what they call a contingency box, which means money that was at least finally allocated for Deep South aid goes back into the black hole of the FDOT bureaucracy.
Well, that's a shame, too, because that 296 parking lot, before all this construction began, that place was packed. You couldn't park your car in there.
Right.
There are so many people in that 296 park and ride. That's a real shame.
That was a latest development that the TPO consented to FDOT's defunding of that parking lot project.
Yeah, that's a real shame. I hope that
in favor of more subsidized housing at that location.
I hope that can be readdressed, because as we continue to grow, that one's is going to be packed. I mean, once this thing is finally fully operational. The second question I had was one of security. Before all this construction began, there was no security at each of these stops, particularly in the nighttime hours. What is security going to be like at these?
We are going to deploy security 24/7 on all the BRT stations that we are building. We already have a plan in place and a contract in place.
Okay, thanks.
On to Art.
No, sorry, really quick, I promise. Thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead,
No, you guys already covered all my venting. So I was just curious, because we often use the bus lanes for emergency vehicles. Is that something that would still continue? I see police, fire rescue sometimes using the bus lane.
Yes.
And they would
I don't have
set off
a-
those geofences the same way as the bus?
Yes, there are some provisions made for the emergency
Okay.
vehicles to go through the busway.
Okay, thank you.
So we promise, Art.
Thank you so much. I promise to be quick. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm Patricia Romeo. I'm here on behalf of the Department of Cultural Affairs. I'm the chief of the Art in Public Places program. As part of what we've been doing with our partners at DTPW, it's ensuring that the BRTs are going to have an actual signature of the municipalities that we're representing. So we are actually commissioning a work of art by Miami-based artist, Juana Valdez, which is called Seminole Patchwork, and it is a work of art. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me move the cursor. Okay, here we are. This is Juana Valdez. She's a well-renowned artist from my neighborhood, and she's being commissioned to do a work of art called Seminole Patchwork. The patchwork, it actually brings together the original and archival footage in a vibrant collage that captures the cities of Homestead, daily life, and cultural heritage. Inspired by the geometric weaving traditions of the Seminole tribe, the artist's work reflects the rich diversity of nationalities, ethnicity, cultures that make up the fabric of Homestead. This is actually going to be a tile work installed in the face of the BRT station at the platform where everyone will be waiting. The idea of the call to artists and the collaboration we're doing with DTPW is to ensure that every station, that main station at each municipality, has the flavor and the look and the feel, the historic relevance to each of the municipalities. Juana will be coming to Homestead to meet with the community to talk about her work, and I wanted to take advantage of tonight's opportunity to let you know that as part of what we're doing with the DTPW is that we would like to extend an opportunity for your artist community, for the visual arts community, to engage with us in a workshop that would be held on June 21st at the Dennis C. Moss Cultural Center, which is one of our cultural facilities. We are going to be providing hands-on expertise on how to apply and benefit from the county public art program. We would encourage the city to distribute the information, and we will connect with the municipality to ensure that you can invite your visual artist community to take advantage of this opportunity. The intent is to create a tighter bond between our county program and your city's public art program, which we know you do have one, to create opportunities for your own community. With the county celebrating 50 years of public art, and we do know that there's little representation on the program in your area, we want to make sure that we're able to enhance the opportunities. So as soon as we have this artwork unveiled, we will come back and show you the actual photographs finished. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Quick question, and I don't know what your process was of choosing that location, but if there was any way to move that to this station, that's right here on the other side of Miami-Dade, our vision is that visitors from other parts of the county to our future downtown would utilize this station, and this would kind of flow with some of the tribute statuary we've done, other murals we've commissioned for this downtown core. So, pardon the pun, but has the train left the station on having this piece installed closer to our downtown exit?
Yeah, we understand that this would have been the proper opportunity. Unfortunately, by the time we had our party selection, the station at 312 was the one that was available to be able to work on. Now, the good thing is that the stations, the way that they were designed, they can actually have artwork added to them, especially on the wall. We can do something in the future. There is an interest from the Department of Transportation to spread the dollars that are being generated through some of these public housing and developments to actually the locations that are generating the use of public transportation. So we have actually started with 8 different commissions along the South Day corridor, but there's more work coming to each of the municipalities. This is just like the flagship of the BRT in Homestead, but we will be coming back with more in the years to come as more dollars become available. Okay?
Thank you. Council, any further questions?
Thank you. Yeah, I heard that you guys were at Florida City's meeting, and I was jealous. I was like, why aren't you coming here? Can you share with us how much this budget was for the tile work?
The budget for this commission was 90,000.
For this
For
specific?
this one is 90,000. For each BRT, it was 90,000.
Okay.
We actually have the 4 municipalities, and then we also have one in the unincorporated, and then we also have a light-based work that there is a possibility that the light-based work will make it to other stations. When you see it, if you like it, please reach out to us, and we would definitely put you in for a checklist to come back.
Well, I agree that at Homestead Station would have been the best place. Do you think there's an opportunity to work with the county if we find some money in our budget to be able to
We
put up another
certainly
one?
can take it on, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Of all nights for Susan not to be here. Well, thank you all. All right. Moving right along. So I skipped. I don't think I asked Mr. Good, are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals?
Yes, Mayor. Tab number 16, car 4189, will be deferred per direction at the LPA.
Very good. Okay. So do we need a motion to defer here? I think the fact that we deferred it from the LPA agenda essentially takes it off the table.
Yes, I believe you're correct, Mayor.
All right. Very good. All right. Our next item is the consent agenda, tabs 2 through 14. Moving right along, we have a motion to approve. And a second. All in favor? Any opposed? And moving right along, Mr. White.
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-590, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, I'd ask council members to disclose any ex parte communications concerning the quasi-judicial items on this evening's agenda. That would be tab 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, yeah.
All with the exception of tab 18 for me. That's the honey factory. Yeah. Nor did I talk to 17 and 18. Everything other than 17 and 18 for me. Same for everyone else? All right.
So at this time, I'd ask anyone wishing to speak on any of the quasi-judicial items to please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn by the clerk.
Do you hereby swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
First item for consideration tonight is tab 15. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval as requested by Lennar Homes LLC for the development of a 51 dwelling unit subdivision on an approximately 10-acre parcel of land, generally located south of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southwest 152nd Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Cordino, just a final plat. We've seen this for months and years, and
It's a bunny. We recommend approval.
turned it inside out. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilwoman Avila. Further questions? Public comment? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And tab 16 has been deferred by virtue of our prior meeting. On to tab 17, Mr. White.
Yes, tab 17 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a variance request as requested by First Home Alliance, LLC, from Section 30-127.5 rear yard requirements of the City Code of Ordinances to permit a minimum rear yard setback of 17 feet and 10 inches where 25 feet is required for the development of a single-family residential dwelling unit on an approximately 0.09 acre parcel of land generally located north of Northwest 4th Street, east of Northwest 4th Avenue, south of Northwest 6th Street, and west of Northwest 3rd Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Cordino.
Yes, sir. We are actually recommending denial of this variance. The First Home Alliance has requested that the rear setback variance in order to continue the building permit review process for the development of one single-family dwelling unit on a vacant parcel of land. The property was granted a waiver of plat back in May of 2007, which created the division of property from approximately 0.2 acres into 3 independent different folio numbers for potential development. And so basically the waiver of plat created parcels A, B, and C consisting of about 4,078 square feet lot size. Parcel C is indicated is the folio number that would be in question. So essentially we reviewed this. They're trying to go from 25 feet to 17 feet. We have a hardship variance in the code. I don't think it meets, it doesn't meet all of the criteria. I think it meets 2 of the criteria. So again, we need to meet all of the 8 criteria. We're recommending denial.
Very good. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative present? Well, we need you to come to the podium and give us your name and address for the record. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Maria Ponce. I'm the permit manager of Blue Nest Development, which we're the developers and also the owners of this property. So I'm sorry, can you repeat regarding the setbacks?
You're requesting 17 feet 10 inches where 25 feet is required.
Okay, and then you also stated about the platting of the lot, correct?
Well, there was a waiver of plat granted in 2007, which divided the original property into 3 different folios. So the one in question now is asking for a variance in the setback, and that's where the variance in the setback again is to go from 25 feet to 17 feet 10 inches.
Okay, so then you guys recommend denial, correct?
No, I recommended denial, and they will make whichever decision they see fit based on their analysis.
And this is due to the configuration or the depth of the proposed residence?
Well, essentially, it's where they want to put the house. They don't have to have. They can reconfigure the house on the lot and still meet the setbacks. And so this is just something that the desire. It's something that's self-created, and in our code it says you cannot self-create. A hardship's not generated by a self-creation. It needs to be something that was generated out of some unforeseen circumstances, some irregularly shaped lot, something with the property that makes it unusual. And this property is not unusual in shapes, size, or anything that would require the setback variance. In that case, the code when in Homestead and many other cities, it's a hardship standard, and so the hardship standard requires that you meet each of the 8 criteria, or you can't grant the variance. And this simply does not meet those criteria because it's really a self-generated issue. It doesn't have to happen.
Sure, Councilman Ross.
So let me ask you this question. They're allowed to build on this lot. They need to reconfigure the footprint of the property, the house they want to build. Is that what you're saying?
Reposition it, it looks
They
like.
just need to reposition the house on the property. Now, just maybe to look at things more practically, the two aspects of the code, the two of the 8 criteria that it does meet is that the granting of the variance is not expected to adversely impact the surrounding development. I mean, you're giving them, if you were to grant this variance, it's a matter of 8 feet. The other one is, it's not in harmony with the rest of the neighborhood. So outwardly speaking, if you're looking at it from a neighbor's property or something like that, it's not devastating. It just doesn't meet. It is a self-imposed hardship. They could replace the house on the lot in a different place and meet the setback and all those other things. And it's not irregularly shaped. It's just there's no reason not to replace the house differently on the lot.
All right. So I'm sorry. Just so, would you be willing to do what they're suggesting?
You can consider it. We would have to speak with the architect and the builder. So you're saying the location of how we're.
Yeah, you just need to place the house. What we would do is we just draw you a square of where the setbacks are, and you just need to make sure the house is within that square, not extending the setbacks any further than they already are.
Okay. Yeah,
And
but we also have to meet the 1,200 square feet required.
Yes.
For a single
Is that getting in the way of the?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, you can meet the 1,200 square feet required, just with different, if you built up. I mean, you're only building a 1-story house, I believe, and you could do 2 and meet the requirements.
But from the survey in our package, it looks like there is an extra 6 feet and change in the front. It demonstrates the 25-foot setback line, but it looks like there's about 6 feet between the 25-foot setback, if I'm reading this right, the 25-foot setback line to the sidewalk. See where I'm? Yeah. And I guess a question I would have: are the other 2 lots developed already?
The other 2 lots developed? No, they're still vacant. They have not been developed.
Because if same ownership, do you?
No, we don't.
No,
We only
because
own.
we would have houses really out of alignment with each other if this one were to be allowed to be so far back. It seems that there could be some different splitting there with that 6 feet and change to reduce the rear setback, unless you get into setback issues with the radius turn at the corner. This appears to be the corner lot, but it looks like you could just move the house forward a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the point. The front setback is 25 feet, so they just need to keep it 25 feet away from the property line. Right.
From the front property line.
Correct.
Would you like to defer this so you can go back and work with your architect and see if there can be some adjustment in that?
Because, so we're allowed to do 2-story to show the 1,200 square feet. Okay, then that's fine. We can.
Okay,
look into
so
that
you're
option.
requesting a deferral.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can look into the option of the 2-story.
All right. Very good. And you may reconfigure or go 2-story and not need to come back and finish this hearing. But, pending that, we've got to take action, which can be approve, deny, or defer. So do we have a motion to defer? Moved by Councilman Cannonball, seconded by Bailey.
And one quick question
yes,
to staff, please, before
Councilwoman
we take the
Bailey.
vote. So before this whole process of approving suggesting a denial, how did this conversation not come up to offer such an easy fix?
I think it did come up, didn't it? Right. I mean, they submitted the application. We gave our review comments, which are that you have the setback, and we offer solutions for those types of things. Move the house, and so I don't know. We're here for whatever reason, but didn't want to address the comment, which was meet the setback.
And you didn't understand that from their notes?
No. Well,
This seems very unnecessary.
Okay. In the beginning, it was told to us to comply with the 1,200 square feet, 1,200 square feet requirement. So we went back to that. But once we complied with that, we have the setback issue. But we were never recommended the 2-story option.
But it doesn't seem that you would have a setback issue, whether it's 1-story or 2-story, if you just move the house more or less 6.5 feet forward.
Yeah, you got to move the footprint of the house, but they got to conform to a certain amount of square footage. So,
well, no, I get that, and that's what's reflected here.
Yeah,
yeah. You would still have a very de minimis rear setback issue that we may have to address, but it won't be so significant. That's really out of character and compatibility, even in that neighborhood, and certainly with the alignment generally of future development there. So we'll defer this, and you can try to reconfigure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
so
you.
We have a motion and a second to defer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. Thank you.
So moving on to the next item for consideration, tab 18 and 19 or corresponding applications related to the same property development. Tab 18 is a site plan request, and tab 19 is the corresponding tentative plat. I can introduce both of these. You could have a collective public hearing discussion and then take a separate vote on each. Tab 18 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval as requested by DARA Group LLC for the development of a 19,000 square foot warehousing and bottling facility on an approximately 0.725 acre parcel of land, generally located at 212 Southwest 2nd Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. Tab 19 is the corresponding tentative plat application. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting tentative plat approval as requested by DARA Group LLC for the development of a 19,000 square foot warehousing and bottling facility on an approximately 0.725 acre parcel of land, generally located at 212 Southwest 2nd Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We are recommending approval of this site plan. It conforms with everything in the code. This is, again, about 19,000 square foot warehouse for the bottling and distribution of honey, which is pretty cool. The structure is going to be about 17,763 square feet. It's going to have 2 office spaces in it, roughly 500 square feet apiece. It's going to have a 1-story building, 1-story tall, about 34 feet in height. It's actually, interesting enough, Floridian architecture. So I thought that was Floridian with the B. B issue with the honey.
Floridian.
Get it? So we're here all week. It's going to have the required 21 parking spaces, 11 of those located within a gated parking area, and 10 on-street parallel parking spaces. It's in the southwest neighborhood, and it conforms with all the aspects of that code, and we recommend approval.
Very good. Thank you. All right, so as long as you sat through the show, and have the applicants' representatives just come up and introduce yourselves and say hello. Still daylight. You got plenty of time.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Councilwomen and men. My name is William Steele. I'm the CEO of Be Natural Honey, and I'm here to represent as a lobbyist DARA Group LLC. You got it.
There we go.
And I'm here with my architect, Seth Yaslow, with Stephen Cohen and Associates Architects and Interior Designers. We've been a honey bottling company since 1969.
Wow.
We've been first established in the Goulds area in Princeton, and then we moved to a location we've been renting since 2008 here in Homestead. Been a long-established honey bottling company, bottling majority-sourced South Florida honey, sourced from honey beekeepers that manage hives everywhere from Fort Myers to Fort Pierce, south of the Florida Keys. And we've been a well-established business in Homestead for now better part of a decade, and looking to continue that with potential build of this site that we have before you. And,
Appreciate it. Let me just say we welcome you here as the first new job-creating commercial construction project in Southwest Homestead in most of our memories. And, I think you're a really good example of local business doing really neat things in our community. So,
we like to keep it sticky and sweet, like we like to say.
Yeah.
I'm here all night, too.
Mayor, I had a...
They don't let me talk that way.
Councilman
Davis.
Currently, we employ directly 5, but we source honey from over 50 beekeepers that range anywhere from 300 hives to 3,500 hives.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just curious if you have any hives at that location, like maybe for educational purposes.
So I like to say I live vicariously through our beekeeper network, but we're not beekeepers ourselves. So
I just thought it might be a nice opportunity to get, be able to host some field trips and explain to kids how important it is to protect our bees.
I do know of a number of beekeepers that do educational, like the bearded bee experience and a few other things. So I'd be happy to put you in touch with a whole slew of beekeepers that would be happy to do that. Educate kids and anybody else that wants to get into beekeeping. It's a really cool thing.
It's probably cheaper security than Rottweilers. Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, thank you. Is there going to be a retail component to there? Can we come buy honey there?
We do take walk-ups. We don't really advertise it as a walk-up situation, but anybody that wants to buy wholesale directly out of our facility is more than
So it's
welcome
wholesale. You don't do any retail really out of there.
All of our retail is primarily commercial, so we sell to Publix. We've been in Publix since 1970. We're a legacy vendor. We're all 1,200 locations across the United States. We're also in about 400 Walmart stores and a number of associated independents through UNFI, which is United Food Group International.
Nice, yeah, and in the beekeeping aspect of it, I used to be a huge honey guy, and they probably can't do it here because there's no source for the bees to thrive on. So they have to have the natural trees and plants that they feed off of, and that's where they divide the different flavors of honey, right? You can have the Brazilian pepper honey, right, which is a lot of people are allergic to it, but once it turns into a honey form, it actually tastes similar to Brazilian peppers. So it's interesting to go through that process of what these guys do, and they position their hives next to specific plants to create that flavor. So it's very interesting. It'd be good to go out and see those things because usually these bees are very gentle. They don't want to hurt people. They just don't bother their hives. But it's a really cool thing to see in nature. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, so we'll take them in the order as presented, 18 and then 19. Is that correct? All right, do we have a motion on tab 18, the site plan approval? Moved by Cannonball, seconded by Bailey. Roll call.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And tab 19, the tentative plat for this project. Moved by Councilman Cannonball.
Is it illegal gift giving to give you guys an 8-ounce bottle of our honey?
Depends on what
it's less than $25. All right, I brought a case. I just
Depends
wanted to ask
worth.
before I wrote
Depends
it.
on what it's worth.
Cheers.
But I don't know. Since he offered it before we voted, I don't know. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Thank you. Congratulations. We look forward to it. So maybe when you come in to get your permits, just carry a hive with you, and you'll get those instant approvals. All right. Moving right on. Tab 20, Mr. White.
Yes, moving on to the next items on the agenda. Tab 20, 21, and 22 are all related applications pertaining to the same proposed Palm Cove Reserve residential subdivision consisting of 296 townhome dwelling units. Tab 20 is a variance request. Tab 21 is the site plan request. Tab 22 is a tentative plat. I can open them up, have a collective discussion, public hearing, and then take a separate vote on each item in the order in which they're presented. Tab 20 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting to waive the requirement that each two-story townhome dwelling unit provide an attached storage area that is at least 40 square feet and accessible from the exterior for the development of a new residential subdivision totaling 296 residential townhome dwelling units located on an approximately 59.08 acre parcel of land as requested by JFM Development Corporation from Section 30-159A, Building Site Area Requirements of the City Code of Ordinances, generally located at the northwest corner of the intersection of East Palm Drive and Southeast 12th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. Tab 21 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval as requested by JFM Development Corp. For the development of a new residential subdivision totaling 296 residential townhome dwelling units located on an approximately 59.08 acre parcel of land, generally located at the northwest corner of the intersection of East Palm Drive and Southeast 12th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And tab 22 is the corresponding tentative plat application. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting tentative plat approval as requested by JFM Development Corp. For the development of a new residential subdivision totaling 296 residential townhome dwelling units located on approximately 59.08 acre parcel of land, generally located at the northwest corner of the intersection of East Palm Drive, Southeast 12th Avenue, legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Gordino.
Yes, thank you. This is a bit of a tricky application. So we've got a variance, a site plan, and then the plat. Plat's ministerial. The site plan has been reviewed for the 269 townhomes, and it meets everything within the code, and it is totally approvable. But we have this variance, and the variance that comes about because they're seeking a parking waiver, essentially, to waive the requirement for each townhouse unit to provide an attached storage area where the code unit requires. So they don't want to put the attached storage area at least 40 feet. I think we've run into this kind of multiple times before and done the same thing. Again, I think they don't meet all but one of the criteria, and so staff is compelled to recommend a denial of the variance because we just couldn't do it any other way. But essentially, we've gone over this, the piece of code that doesn't work. We'd love to be able to get the direction to kind of modify that and bring back an amendment. But until that time, we keep getting these variances, and then we keep recommending denial. So that's where it sits. You really can't approve the site plan if you deny the variance, and then the whole thing goes kaput. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Arza?
Thank you all. Good evening. Hugo Arza, 701 Brickell Avenue. Appreciate the time. Thank you to staff for their explanation and recommendation. I think we all feel similarly sort of frustrated by this sort of technical application of this one variance. I think but for that, I think Mr. Gordino acknowledged that we do meet the code in every other respect and would likely have been before you with two items, just a site plan and a tentative plat. I'll run through a presentation briefly. I want to thank you all for your time. So I've shown this to all of you. Pretty straightforward application. This thing just buzzed on my hand. Property that I'm sure is well known to all of you on the northwest corner of Palm, Southeast 12th Avenue, 167th Avenue. On the east side, of course, of 167th is Homestead High. I kept saying I was going to shrink the picture to show the new Publix, which is Caddy Corner on the south. I guess that would be the southeast corner of Palm and Southeast 12th Avenue there. I drove by the site today, and the Publix looks like it's about to open in the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks. I mean, they're wrapping it up. It looks really, really nice. So we're, in an area that I'm sure is very familiar to all of you. Subject property is a total of 60 acres, of which 54 acres are part of the residential and preserved property. There is a 5-acre parcel for commercial on the corner. We're neither seeking to get it site plan approved today nor changing anything about it. That commercial parcel will come in if I'm wearing my developer hat, which there's a reason I'm a lawyer, is that they're going to, probably wait to see Publix open up and then start to see the folks who come to Publix and need to run other errands and then, see what kind of businesses want to come in. But the expectation is that corner piece will be, we'll have some additional commercial uses in the future. Existing land use of medium density residential, except for that little corner, which is light density, changing nothing there. We're sticking to what we have. Existing RTH zoning within the residential portion. Again, we're developing a townhome project. We're not seeking any change from that zoning category. The changes to this parcel were made back in the very first meeting of 2016. So it's been about 8 years since this property was redesignated to the medium density, with the exception of the corner commercial piece, and at the same time the rezoning occurred. So despite the fact that the zoning and the land use was put in place about 8 years ago, hadn't made its way through the development cycle, now it's before you with the site plan, the tentative plat, and the variance that I'll explain shortly. Just a little bit behind that, one additional element from the 2016 approval was that there was also a proffered declaration of restrictions capping it at 296 units, and we do not exceed that. So we meet your declaration of restrictions limit, stay within the medium density land use category, stay within the RTH category. We are seeking site plan approval for the 296 townhomes, the variance, and we'll get into that. I have a couple slides about that, and then the tentative plat approval, which is obviously much more technical in nature and follows the site plan. Here is a rendered site plan. Give you some highlights, and I'll walk through this with a good number of you. You see again, kind of the commercial on the corner. No site plan yet. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. Then the wetland area, as designated by DERM, will kind of envelope that commercial parcel, but pretty substantial, both on the south and on the eastern boundaries. And then we're proposing in this site plan that we would access the property, would have 2 access points, both on 167th and 344th on Palm Drive. But we have situated the entrances not exactly, where to enter into the community, where we've created this kind of concept of a spine road with then the circular entry points into the community. We thought it gave it a little bit more of a neighborhood feel to do it that way. And also removed traffic from folks having to necessarily turn from the major roads. They get onto a spine road and wind their way over to their community rather than having to turn from the busier road. We've got a project with fee simple townhomes, again, meeting all of your code requirements with the exception of the attached outdoor storage with an entrance from the outside. That's my shorthand of how I describe it. But beyond that, we've got, you can see in the, I think this is right there, the tot lot with a pool area and also the mailbox kiosk, so kind of a central point. And then to sort of the south and the west of that, you see kind of an open area. It's meant to create kind of a linear park. We also wanted to separate the buildings, those residential buildings that were closest to the spine road that we're creating, give them a little bit more of a buffer. And so we create this kind of linear park area there and continue it up right up here to give, again, a little bit of separation within the property also to those particular homes. Beyond that, again, fully landscaped, fully set back, fully lot size, all parking requirements met. Just some more of the information that I just walked through and just some additional details. And again, the parking, ample parking, both additional street parking plus the parking you would have as part of each home. Some of the elevations on it, let me get to the, we always show these because they're kind of the granular building blocks, but the clubhouse elevation, but I think the pretty pictures tend to do a better justice. And so here you see the design, again, the units with garages, and that'll come into play in about a minute when I talk about the variance, with garages, with I guess I was correct that I called it modern, but it's contemporary, or I called it contemporary, but it's modern. I forget which one. I was corrected, and I still don't know exactly what. But it does not look, obviously like some of the more traditional Spanish-style type stuff. So you see some changes in the architecture there. An elevation or a rendering of the pool area with, in the pool area we'll have changing rooms, bathroom area, and the like to try and, obviously for families to utilize. And this will be for this community, obviously. So we buried the lead, right? The variance application. And so this is the section. It is, I guess it's technically a parking variance because it's in the parking code, but it has nothing to do with parking. We provide the one-car garage, and this is the section. And then each unit shall provide an attached storage area that is at least 40 square feet accessible from the exterior. We are providing, and I will show you the 40 feet. We are providing 40 feet of additional storage beyond our garages, and you can see it in the area. We've highlighted the garage and the storage area. So we're providing the storage area. We tried the concept or idea that the access to the storage was through the garage door. We thought that was, meeting the spirit and intent. Staff felt that we needed to have a separate entrance or a direct entrance. And so, just in that back and forth, and candidly, in light of the fact that I've stood before you and had this same variance approved in the past, because I think it's a frustrating one to have to try and implement. I think it's also one from times past that we felt like, okay, well, we'll roll our dice once again with a variance, but I made sure that we did not remove the storage area, which at that point you're asking for the variance, we could have removed it. We did not remove the storage area whatsoever. And I have heard requests of whether we would consider doing impact windows. I'd love to hear. I've expressed to all of you that my client is open to that suggestion, so if it's the will of the council, we certainly could consider that, which would, practically speaking, probably render the original thought process behind the storage area a bit unnecessary, because it really was intended to provide people for that storage for their shutters. You wouldn't need the shutters anymore. This will become, as I've lovingly come to call it, the Christmas tree ornament area, because this will be where people are probably going to put their tree and holiday decorations. But it's okay. Some extra storage for these homeowners. So we kept the storage. Can't access it legally or technically speaking. We can access it. It'll be somebody's townhome. Legally they can access it, but it won't meet the code to go through the garage door. So we asked for the variance for that reason. And these are some of the explanations. Again, keeping the garage at the full size in addition to the 40 square feet, and then going through some of the other stuff that I explained. Tentative plat, which is obviously super granular in detail, but again, really the important things of all of these, creating our lots and blocks to sell-fee simple homes, but all of them meet your code requirements, lot sizes, and the like. So all of that is standard, and your staff has reviewed it all. And here you have some of the details of what some of the different tracks will be. Again, a level of detail that's necessary for the project, but typically, the site plan covers the conversations that we all typically have. Staff recommendations and reviews. I love to put up a picture up there of, staff recommendation of approval. Can't do that today, and I think Mr. Corradino explained the reason for that. But I do want to remind everyone, we've addressed all the comments, all the city's infrastructure reviews, city traffic review, Miami-Dade Fire, Durham approval, public school system. Everyone has done all of their review. The denial is not because we failed to meet any of the other criteria. I thought it was important that we all be reminded of that. And then, again, the denial, kind of domino effect from the variance. As a result of the denial of the variance, everything else has to be denied. But we have been successful in securing these kinds of variances in the past. This code provision is probably ripe for some reconsideration. I hear that often, and maybe it will be changed at some point. But for this project here tonight, we think that the fact we're keeping the storage we're certainly open to a suggestion of impact windows to kind of even ameliorate the need for it. We hope will carry the day for a project that otherwise really just meets every other criteria. So I want to thank you all for your time. Happy to answer any questions that you may have, and I would ask for your favorable vote this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, questions, comments? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. A question for staff. If we were to strike that piece out of the code, would we be able to have an exception that then impact windows would have to be provided?
I wouldn't tinker with that. I mean, I think I'd just deal with the garage and not deal with the windows. The windows are more of a, not necessarily a zoning issue, and we're trying to deal with zoning, which is the zoning code talks about having the garage in a certain place. So
I understand, but as somebody that has to go to the back of the garage to get these heavy shutters out and put them up on my windows and then take them back through the garage, I understand the need for that exterior door. So that's what I'm saying. If we were to strike that, there is no way to require impact windows if that exterior door is not provided?
Not from a zoning perspective. Maybe I think if we got into the building code, or maybe we put our heads together with the building official and the applicant, figure out what an appropriate piece of code was, we can come back with something good. But on its face, I don't think we can do that. It's really not a zoning issue.
If you all don't mind, can we give them direction to please look into that?
It's preempted under the Florida Building Code, so we can't require it, but the applicant can proffer to do it.
Which is what he's done.
Right. So if we have to continue going this way and then saying, okay, as long as you have impact windows, we can approve yeah. That's fine. Thank you.
All right. Further questions? Vice Mayor.
Not directed specifically at the applicant, but want to go back a couple of years. So Southwest 344th Street had some approvals in Florida City that expanded the roadway, and the county also acknowledged they were going to go ahead and do those improvements all the way to 167 Avenue. Do we know the status of where that is in their budget and when that's going to be done, which affects an additional 296 dwellings plus another 1,200 down the street plus another 770? So this all, if you could let us know if you know the status of that, please. Can you give him control?
I do not have. I do not have a status on that for you tonight, but I can certainly go back to the county and find out those details for you.
Okay, thank you. And then just one final thing. So since 2016, over about 2,600 units have been approved in the city of Homestead. They've all passed our development review committee with really no comments from Public Works or Police Department. We've hired some new police officers over the years, but we're adding 6,000 new residents here potentially, or more. And we've slowly improved on that number, but we're nowhere near the number we need to be at. So let's start thinking about that in the future too before we start approving these developments in the future. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Vice Mayor. Definitely timing is perfect because with our incoming moratorium discussions and passing that, it'll give us ample time to make sure that we are budgeting properly for our police department and adding additional positions.
Solid waste.
Yes. So I think that for this particular property, with the fact that it's kind of like a pre-approved from back in 2016, yeah, and uniquely to this one is the preserve that's going to be buffering it, which kind of feels like you're going to be in the woods when you go drive back there. But I would like to see how you can kind of maximize that for the benefit of the community and for the neighboring areas. Is there anything that can be done to add to the park, the park or amenities? Your mic on, please.
Thank you. You had asked me, and when we met earlier, the conversation we had was related to the usability of the preserve area, and we've been down this road before. Durham, can we have a viewing platform? Can we have something to try and integrate the use? The knee-jerk reaction from Durham, not surprisingly often, is no, we don't do that. No, we don't. we were looking at the site plan, and on the sort of, if I guess I can go to the site plan, on the what would be the east side of that spine road, I'll try and get there pretty quickly. There appears to be, we're putting the spine road in an area we can build, and there was some landscaping that we're placing to kind of give it a nice boulevard feel. And one of the commitments that I gave was I can't commit to saying that Durham will allow us to do this, but we're going to look to see if we can do some sort of like walkway along that area that is still, buildable, is not inside the Durham wetlands area, but would probably provide for, kind of a nice walk where you're walking on the side of an area that is a wetlands, preserved, untouched natural area. And this is probably going to take too long to get there, but I think that one would have shown it. But
maybe staff can find it faster.
Yeah.
Can you find the slide that shows the preserve in the corner and
the colored rendering slide? I think I went too far. I'll just zoom in to.
Can you go to the? Yeah, this has got to speed up. But while they're looking for that,
so the idea, when we find it, I'll zoom into where it is. But yes, we are happy to, as part of the permitting that we need to do with Durham, speak to them about what options we have to maybe incorporate a walkway or something where we can better integrate. If you guys can find the rendered one. Yeah,
and then for staff, where would they, for the interior units, where would they put the door for the extra storage?
In the back.
They would have to put the storage in the rear of the property, where I think is like max value for your layout on your property. You've got the bedrooms back there. You've got windows to see your backyard. So I don't know if, it was the intent and the spirit, and I think I'm too young to remember why it was there in the first place, but is it just only for the purposes of storage shutters in addition to the garage? Because it just feels like overkill.
I am as well too young to remember when that was put in the James, I think, was James is not, though. He was here.
I can tell you the genesis of that.
Calling me and James old.
The genesis, at one point, the zoning district regulations for townhome developments were very, very loose. Didn't have a lot in them. And as a result of things that were popping up out of the ground on the east side that didn't have the amenities, that didn't have the details, that didn't have all of these things that you all would like to see in a townhouse development, that was the genesis of those land development regulations related to townhomes. I don't necessarily remember that storage of hurricane shutters. It was in the list of things why a townhouse product needs some storage area, but it wasn't the be-all, end-all of why the storage was there. That's come up over the years in conversations as you all have evaluated various products or projects that have requested a variance and have shown that there have been adequate storage interior that would address those concerns.
Very well. And you're proffering the windows? The impact windows and doors?
I'm happy to include that in our site plan if it's your wish.
It is my wish, thank you.
Have a site plan condition that we would have the project with impact windows. But we found the slide. So you see how, like, on the sort of east side or the right side of the road, there is an area that we're landscaping. So that area is obviously not a preserve. We wouldn't be able to plant trees in an area that Durham is keeping as a preserve. So since we're showing that, I believe that we did that because we're obviously not going to have the road right on the edge. There is some room there where those trees would be. I'm going to work with both our team and our and Durham to see if it's possible that we could incorporate some sort of walking path or do something along there.
And if that's possible, if they are able to allow that, if you can just make sure you have enough, signage and nice crosswalks that are, inviting to be able to enjoy it. No sense in having it and nobody realizes it exists. But I think that would help improve the overall amenities for the community. And in general, you've got the garages for each unit and a nice backyard too. So I think. And I look forward to that commercial component. That's exciting.
And we'll be hopefully in with a commercial, and I know we discussed it, but we'd be open to a condition. We talked about flags in this particular project at the two entrances where the roundabouts are located. So we're
Hugo, on that point, are you the one that has the contact for the cell phone tower flags?
We've done work for the cell phone tower folks. Yes.
Can you share that, please, with Zach? And then I'm not sure how the cell phone service is over there by yonder, but that might be helpful.
Yeah, we worked on the one that you see on Campbell, the cell phone tower that you see just south of Campbell.
Oh, that might be too big for those spots. But
yeah,
something,
no, but
okay.
I think those things can scale. But we did work on that one. So.
Thank you.
So we're happy to include those conditions, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, two more quick things. You made it sound like the linear park was included when we met.
The linear park that I was referring to, and it says it on there, is...
It's there.
On this side. See,
okay.
That says linear park. We do have a linear park on this side.
Okay. I was going to say...
The request from the councilwoman is to see if we can do something on
on
this
the
side of the street.
I got it.
Like a boardwalk. At the
Right.
Yeah, like a little, right. Like we got to talking about like a viewing platform, but we've tried that in the past, and I don't know, for some reason Durham just gets insulted. So we'll try again.
Super. When we have these discussions on the moratoriums with regarding residential, then maybe what we should consider is requiring these impact windows for these types of projects.
Can't require impact windows. We're preempted under state law pursuant to the
I
Florida
thought you
Building
meant
Code.
tied into taking away the...
We can predicate the grant of a variance for the storage area or the exterior door, but you can't mandate it.
After you brought up the interior units, then I started thinking, of course, if somebody then decides not to put up their shutters, that also affects the neighbors. Flooding would affect. Oh, all right, well, we'll keep trying. Thanks.
Good. Okay. Well, okay, so real quick to Councilwoman Avala's question. In the early days of this requirement, my recollection is realize that a lot of townhomes were built without garages. So folks were literally having to store, and impact windows were not as prevalent and relatively more expensive than they are now. So that was a big factor because people were having to store their panels on the back porch or leaning against the side of the unit, and that was something that evolved that and for access and that made sense when there wasn't a garage. So that this has been kind of an evolution of design and amenities here. Two questions. Well, I guess a question or comment. So, and this is not a road impact fee question. Are there any other authorities that are requiring any improvements on? Was it 12th Ave, 167th?
Not as part of this project. We were not. Staff and Public Works and Traffic reviewed it. We weren't asked to provide for any.
Okay, because common sense tells me 344th is one thing, and we know that's in the pipeline, but at least some shoulder widening and additional stacking at the intersection of Lucy Street and 162nd, to the north.
To the
north.
Okay, I was thinking. So not. Right.
Yeah, that's really a tight intersection. Once upon a time when Lakeshore and San Remo and so forth were the only ones there, but we're really talking. So I guess, the reality is that our next city manager is also probably for a while going to wear the hat as the Public Works Director and the roads guru, and just as we are doing with other developers to recapture those impact fees for projects, I think we need to, because they will be paying dearly for some road impact fees, and we really need those fees rolled back into that north-south roadway. And this, again, barring the potential units on the potential Alger property project, this project really, again, brings to the forefront our need, and I know the next city manager is going to work on that interchange at the Turnpike and Lucy Street. This will really ease a lot of burden for a lot of folks. Okay, so do we have a motion with the condition of the impact windows? And, well, and the flags and the traffic circles.
Do we attach the condition?
What's that attached? Where does that need to be
the
attached?
site plan?
We can make it a condition of the site plan.
Okay. All right. So that's item 21. So we've got to start with 20. All right. So we have a motion on tab 20 by Councilwoman Bailey, second by the Vice Mayor. Do we have any public comment? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannabon? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And now time for the site plan motion with the condition of, go ahead.
Well, no, I just want to make sure the
Impact windows.
impact windows and the flags at the
Flagpoles.
two entrance and our commitment. I don't know how the attorney feels. I mean, I can't tell you Durham will allow us to do something, but we will work with Durham to see if
Further
we can
enhance the edge of
right.
the.
So, however you all want to word that, I just want to make sure we capture the thought.
Right. That's your motion, Councilwoman? Okay. Okay.
Second.
Second by Councilman Roth. Is there any public comment? Close the public hearing. Roll call on tab 21, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Cannabon? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And tab 22, the tentative plat approval for this project. We have a motion. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any public comment? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Cannabon? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you all. Good evening.
All right, moving on to tab 23, Mr. White. No, that's not the FLUM, was it?
Yes, that concludes your quasi-judicial items. Moving on to your legislative items. Tab 23 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive future land use map designation as requested by VARCAMP Group, LLC, of an approximately 16,875 square foot parcel of land from low residential use to light commercial use for property located at 60 Northeast 16th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Good. Do we have a motion on this? Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilman Cannabon. He jumped first. I saw him in that corner. Clarification, Mr. White. Should we not go forward with second reading until there is a rezoning application brought back? Should we hold second reading in abeyance of this until she resolves some of her zoning issues, rezoning issues? Or we just have to do that when the time comes?
I mean, you can,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I don't know the applicants. I mean, we didn't defer it to a date certain on the rezoning. Right. I don't know how long the application is going to take. So you all may decide that.
Yeah. We go forward with the redesignation. Okay. All right. So I think we have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Close the public hearing. Roll call on tab 23, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannabon? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, thank you. And I think our next, and pardon the pun, cluster of items are 24, 25, 26. Is that correct?
Yes, these are all applications as we discussed at the LPA are related to the same Touching Miami with Love proposed affordable housing project. In order to achieve development of that, the first step is a change to the comprehensive plan, the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan, and corresponding zoning code amendments. I can introduce each one of these collectively, public hearing, then vote on each.
Let's do it.
Tab 24 is the first reading of an ordinance to the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Comprehensive Plan by amending the text of the Plan Urban Neighborhood Future Land Use category contained in Objective 2, Policy 2.1 to permit affordable housing with a maximum net density of 25 dwelling units per acre on property within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood, providing for transmittal of this ordinance to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, all other units of local government or governmental agencies as required under Chapter 163, Part 2 Florida statutes, providing for adoption pursuant to Florida statutes, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal of conflicts, severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 25 is the first reading of an ordinance to the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan by amending regulations governing building frontages, general standards, sub-area zoning, building type for civic government sub-area, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan, and providing for an effective date. And finally, Tab 26 is the first reading of an ordinance to the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 Zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 19, GP Government Property District, Section 30-382, Affordable Housing, Division 23, Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.40, Maximum Density, Section 30-396.44, Maximum Density, Section 30-396.61, Affordable Housing, Section 30-396.62, Subareas, Article 4, Supplemental District, Division 3, Density, Section 30-457, Maximum Density Established, Article 5, Nonconforming Lot Uses and Structures, Section 30-553, Exception for Affordable Housing, all to permit affordable housing with a maximum net density of 25 dwelling units per acre on property within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood, providing for severability, providing for inclusion, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Cordino.
Okay. These are the ones we went over in the LPA, and essentially what's happening again is that to change anything in the Southwest neighborhood, you've got to change the comprehensive plan where the text amendment comes through. You've got to change the master plan, which is an additional step, and then you've got to change the zoning. So effectively what's happening here is that the applicant wants to build about 100 units on 4.2 acres, and they would like a density to be 25 dwelling units an acre, which is not radically different from the existing densities in the Southwest neighborhood, which ranges between 15 and 20. And so we are recommending that you consider that as you make your decisions.
Good, thank you. Council, any further questions or comments? We addressed this at the LPA. Is the applicant's representative here? If you want to come forward and just enter your appearance, as long as you're here. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Losner, Vice Mayor Fletcher, council members, and staff. Thank you. My name is Adele Valencia of LSN Law, with offices located at 3800 Northeast 1st Avenue, Suite 200, Miami, Florida. I'm happy to start with a presentation if you'd like, or if you'd like to go through public comment, whatever you prefer.
So go ahead and do the presentation.
Okay. I'm here on behalf of TML Homestead LLC as applicant and property owner, who has partnered with DBC Proceda, a well-established developer of high-quality affordable housing. We appreciate the opportunity to seek your approval today for an innovative proposal we believe will enhance quality of life in the city generally, and particularly in the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, while addressing a critical shortage of affordable housing options for Homestead residents and supporting a wonderful nonprofit. The property is located at 1350 Southwest 4th Street and is approximately 4 acres. The property is zoned Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District within the civic government sub-area. The land use designation is Planned Urban Neighborhood. Please note that there are a total of 12 parcels zoned Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District within the civic government sub-area to which these amendments would apply. They're highlighted in purple on this slide. This project emerges from a collaboration between Touching Miami with Love, a nonprofit that was founded in 1995 and has been capably serving families in Homestead for nearly 30 years. You'll hear directly from Trina Harris, the executive director of Touching Miami with Love, shortly. This project proposes adding a 100-unit affordable housing project to the existing Touching Miami with Love site while preserving the existing building. Thoughtfully designed to enhance this community, this new campus will integrate well with the existing nonprofit, surrounding parks, and other multifamily developments nearby, enhancing pedestrian connectivity, and enriching the neighborhood with new vibrancy. We truly hope that this housing will provide opportunities for teachers and staff at nearby schools and nonprofits to live near where they work and play. To accomplish this vision, we are requesting amendments to the City Code, Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood Master Plan, and the Comprehensive Plan. The City Code amendments seek to permit affordable housing in the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, provide for a maximum density of 25 units per acre within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, define affordable housing by the Florida statutory definition, add affordable housing as a permitted use within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, include affordable housing developments on parcels designated civic government subarea within the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, and finally, to permit affordable housing units within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District at a maximum of 25 units per acre. Try saying that 10 times fast. The Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood Master Plan amendments seek to allow 25 units per acre of affordable housing within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, provided that the residential units are restricted exclusively for affordable housing for a minimum of 15 years. Reference affordable housing as a use included within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District. Allow apartment condominiums as a building type within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District. Allow a maximum building height of 5 stories for apartment condominium building types. Allow flexibility in the materials deployed in the construction of the apartment condominium building types within this subarea. And allow flat roofs for the apartment condominium building types within the civic government subarea of the Southwest PUN. Finally, to allow a building frontage of 60% for the apartment condominium building types within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District. Finally, we propose one amendment to permit density in the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood land use designation to establish the density for affordable housing developments as 25 affordable housing units per net acre in the civic government subarea of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood only. The proposed site plan, which integrates the proposed affordable housing respectfully within the existing nonprofit campus, has been designed with an eye towards upgrading the entire campus to maximize quality of life for residents and neighbors. Please note the 2 additional applications associated with this project, the site plan and the PLAT, will come before you at a future date. And with that, I'm going to bring up my colleague Mario Procida, who's the developer, to share more about the project from his perspective.
Thank you, Adele. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, good to see you all. I'm joined here tonight by my colleague Benji Power and by my partner Trina Harris. We're happy to be here to present the project. As Adele alluded to, this project is being developed by a joint venture between DVC Procida and the Touching Miami with Love campus. We are located, or the property is located at the southeast corner of Southwest 4th and Southwest 187th Avenue, and we have focused our development. How do you highlight?
Highlight. You want to click ahead?
No, I wanted to highlight. And we've located the property down at the southeast corner of the site. The project consists of 100 units of affordable 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments for households ranging with incomes ranging from 30 to 80% of area median income. And area median income is qualified by the median income in Miami-Dade County, which is right now about $55,000 a year for a family of 2. The current design has 24 one-bedroom apartments, 53 two-bedrooms, and 23 three-bedroom apartments. We have 103 on-site parking spaces, 14 of which, and we have 14 spaces off-site for a total of 117 spaces, which I believe exceeds the code requirement of 1 space per unit. Go back. Building shares the site with the Touching Miami community facility space, which was, I believe, formerly a school, but Trina can comment on that. The site's been carefully divided to separate both the school campus from the building. And as you see, we've also located the parking to the rear of the site to shield the view of the parking from the street. It's a view of the entrance to the parking garage from Southwest 6th Street. And again, a view from Southwest 6th looking north on 187th Avenue. We have residential units on all floors of the building. Ground floor has amenity space for the units, and for the residents, and the property will be built in accordance with NGBS silver standards for sustainability. I think that's about it for me, to be quick. I'm now going to turn it over to Trina Harris, who will talk to you about Touching Miami and their involvement with the project.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Thank you guys for allowing us to present this evening. I'm joined by some of our staff members here and residents from Touching Miami with Love. Touching Miami with Love has been in existence for 30 years, and we've been a staple of serving the community of Homestead way back since Hurricane Andrew. And in our process of serving children, youth, and families in the communities of Homestead and also Overtown, another marginalized community, we provide holistic and much-needed services in our community. That's well-rounded programming educationally, socially, emotionally, and also job training. With this project, after surveying hundreds of our families in our community regarding the need for affordable housing, it has been #1 on the list of need. And this project will definitely fill the gaps that are needed to, one, retain our staff. Right now, we're facing a staff turnover because residents and our staff can't afford to live in Homestead, or they can't find decent housing in Homestead. We're losing a 17-year employee next week that is moving out of the state. He is born and raised here in the city of Homestead, grew up through our program, and he's moving out of the state because of housing issues. And his family has decided to make that move. We wish this project would have been here sooner to be able to retain him. So we're asking for your support in this project as we seek these amendments, but then also when we come back for our site plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions, comments on this proposal? I think we talked at length earlier. All right. So do we have a motion to approve the first item here, which is tab 24? Yes. Moved by Councilman Cannonball, second by Councilwoman Bailey. Is there any public comment? Close the public hearing. Let's have a roll call. I'm sorry. Okay. Jump the gun there. Come on down.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilmen, and Councilwomen. My name is Demario Lee. I'm a Homestead resident. I've lived in Homestead pretty much my whole adult life. Homestead Senior High, orange and blue. I know some people are South Dadians here. I'm sorry for you guys about that. I'm a community guy, so thank you guys so much. I did a Black Lives Matter protest here in the city. I'm always bothering you guys about something. I'm an advocate for kids and education. I will go to bat for all the children in our community. Being a community guy, directly in our communities, working with Touching Miami with Love, working with the students in our community, I realize housing is an issue. So I am an affordable housing kid. I'm not ashamed of it. My mom came from Mississippi very young with my older brother. Then she had me. Then she had 2 other children. So we benefited directly from affordable housing. So I understand the need. Going home after a long day of work and knowing there's a home to go to, that's a constant conversation I'm having directly with the individuals within our community. The increase in the rent, even with our staff members, we have this conversation all the time. What's our next move? What's the next plan? I wish I had an answer for them. And I do believe God's grace is sufficient, because I was literally having this conversation wildly over the last couple of months. I had an opportunity to speak with our CEO, Ms. Harris, and I really wanted to advocate and get behind this project, because every kid and every family, every person who works and they're giving their best to make it happen should have a home to go home to. And this affordable housing project I'm going to support to get something running because I want to retain staff. I want our families to feel safe. Quick story I want to give you guys really quick. At our site, there's a mom. She's living in the Zoo Miami area. Can't afford to live there. She's bringing her kids down to our area, to the Homestead area, because of what Touching Miami with Love was able to do for her boys and her family. So we're trying to figure that out with our family. So we're a constant resource center for them, whether it's housing, job placement, whether we work with system-involved youth. So it's more than just affordable housing with this project. We're able to cater to the entire community and all of the needs the community may have. So I'm going to advocate this project. Again, like I said, I'm an affordable housing kid. So
Almost made it.
Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for your time.
I have a question.
Councilman Roth, question.
Just a comment, no. You know, they mentioned we're having an affordable housing crisis. And until, I think, not just us collectively up here, but people like Touching Miami with Love, other organizations that are dealing with this every single day, we face issues that we can't control, right? That's driving the cost of living in our area extremely high. And it's insurance and it's taxes. And you don't ever hear anybody speaking about trying to lobby our legislators in Tallahassee to rein in some of these increases that we're experiencing every year with insurances. The taxes, just to give you an example, when somebody buys a single-family home anywhere in the city that was occupied by somebody that lived there for 10 years or more, their taxes are tripling and quadrupling to the new buyer. And it's only because of the appreciation they take for the assessed value on the property. It's gonna affect a lot of people. So it's good to come here and ask us for variances and those things to help 100 families. But if we truly want to make a difference, we have to point it out to the leaders in Tallahassee that we need help down here. We need help in South Florida, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, or else we're going to lose a tremendous asset, and those are residents that have lived and grown in the South Dade area all their lives. The perfect example was when Trina told me the story of the 17-year employee who's leaving to, I think you said Tennessee, because his family can no longer afford to live here. So it's not that we're losing just the 17-year employee, we're losing their entire family because of affordability. And I challenge people, and I'll be the first one to stand in front and march with you. If somebody will put together some kind of coalition of leaders down here that will lobby the state, our county, to help control some of these increases that we're facing. Those that live in places, their taxes won't go up much, but that doesn't help the affordability factor for those that are coming to the area, those that want to stay in the area that have lived here for a very long time, and those that are don't have the ability to maintain and do those things. So I'm sure my other colleagues up here would do the same thing. We would get behind any kind of actions that would put pressure on the state lobbyists, the state legislators, to just pay attention to what's going on down here. Because one story that Trina shares is, I'm sure there's other stories out there that are going unheard, and it's going to totally affect the entire area. So I just wanted to put that out there, Mayor, that this is a good thing. It's not even a Band-Aid to the problem that we're all going to be facing later down the road with those that have lived, grown up, raised their kids, and they no longer can afford to live here. But we've got to bring it to the attention of those that can help us, especially with the insurance crisis. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, is there anyone else wishing to speak in the public on this application? All right, so we'll close the public hearing. We'll have a roll call on tab 24.
Councilman Roth, Councilwoman Bailey, Councilman Cannavale, Councilwoman Avila, Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher,
Yes.
Mayor Losner.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Need a motion now on tab 25, which is a text amendment necessary for this project. Moved by Councilman Cannavale, seconded by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And finally, tab number 26, the code amendment for the Southwest Plan to Urban Neighborhood Zoning District, moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannibal? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all. So when are we going to see dirt moving? July. Very good. Thank you. Very good. June, July. Very good. Thank
Sorry,
you.
one quick thing, Mayor?
Yes.
And please don't forget our discussions I know there are the requirements for affordable housing, but our discussions to see how we can reach as many teachers so that we can retain our great teachers in the Southwest and even bring in some new ones. Count me in, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Go Buccaneers. He didn't hear me.
He chose not to hear you. I'm so old they weren't even Buccaneers. Okay. Tab 27. That's you, Mr. White, or Mr. Pearl?
Tab 27
Does
is
it
the
really
first
matter?
reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 12, B2 Retail Commercial District, Section 30-276B, uses permitted as of right, by removing self-service storage facilities as a permitted use, and Division 23, Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.34, permitted uses, prohibiting self-service storage facilities, and Section 30-396.42 subareas, prohibiting self-service storage facilities within the commercial and industrial subareas of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood. Article 4, Supplemental District Regulations, Division 2, Off-Street Parking, Section 30-433, Off-Street Parking Area Requirements in all districts, by modifying the off-street parking area requirements related to self-service storage facilities, and Division 9, Mixed Use and Non-Residential Development Standards, Section 30-542, self-service storage facilities, modifying the development standards related to self-service storage facilities, and further amending Article 6, Planned Unit Development, Section 30-570, permitted uses, prohibiting self-service storage facilities, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. First reading.
And this also comes to us with an amendment from the LPA to exempt the identified project, the final ordinance. All right, moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannibal? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all. Big step forward. All right. Next item is tab 28. It's a resolution. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 28 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing the purchase of hardware, software, and services for the Homestead Police Department from CDW Government, LLC, pursuant to City Code Section 2-411.1A5, exemptions from competitive bidding, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Any objection to the reading of the staff report on this item? All right, we'll waive the reading. It's been moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
At tab 29, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 29 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the settlement of all claims made by Jonathan Ingham, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Any objection to waiving the staff report?
No, move approval.
Didn't think so. Move approval by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. Further comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Cannibal? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you all. That brings us to business from the city manager.
None, Mayor.
Thank you. This will be a good time. Zach, you got unexpectedly put in the hot seat. you've been in a hot seat. I think you had to get you some asbestos underwear just to balance the role that was thrust upon you temporarily, and I want to thank you for your stepping up and keeping all of the balls in the air, so to speak. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you for your support through this time, and a huge thank you to the staff, the directors, the attorneys. It's a team effort here, and we all try and make each other look good.
Very good. You kept us afloat for a few weeks. All right. Mr. Pearl, very good. Councilman Cannonball. That's what I like to hear. Councilman Davis. Councilman Roth.
Just real quick, I want to just reiterate what I said earlier about the staff coming out and making the arrangements with the county to come take care of a priority situation we had. It was getting a lot of mentions in social media about this traffic issue we were having on Campbell Drive, and just appreciate the quickness and what we were able to put pressure on them to come out here and to address the needs of the people that live on the west side of the city, because it was, you're right, I see it every single day, and my office is right there, and it just is unacceptable for that to happen to our constituents in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Avila? Councilwoman Avila?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to try to make it quick. I want to echo the sentiments. Great job. You have not skipped a beat. You have been responding to every email and every phone call, which have ticked up over the last couple. At all hours. At all hours, exactly, and staff as well. Great job. So keep up the good work. Thank you. A reminder that the Kiwanis Good Friday Prayer Breakfast is coming up next Friday, on Good Friday. It's a sunrise service at the Homestead Pavilion. Thank you to Mayor and Council for your sponsorships. It's the 49th year that this event is going on in our city. So the guest speaker is Dr. Reverend Audrey Warren, pastor of the First United Methodist Church of Miami. So we look forward to having her. And then finally, I'm seeking support. I'm working with staff to bring a resolution next month regarding the blasting that is occurring at the quarry. The town of Miami Lakes created a advisory board to funnel complaints and to try to bring recommendations to the state for studies and things of that nature. These types of events are seismic in nature. They create shock waves that can cause damage to properties. And for a long time, we really didn't, hear a lot of complaints. But for some reason, it's picking up more and more. So I think that this is something that we should work on. So I'd like to have support from Mayor and Council. You'll hear more about it next month. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you. Just one quick update. We finally received our last submission for the CRB, so you will all have that in front of you for approval next month. We still do have one available spot, but we do have enough to begin. And the same thing goes for SWAC. We do have an available seat on the SWAC board. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you. So on April 3rd, my birthday, we're going to be having a charrette in the city of Homestead. Had to throw that in there. But at 2 p.m., we have a 1-hour session for small business and organizations. I think we need to look at expanding that and also, promoting this with the small businesses in Homestead, because I had a discussion with a couple of small businesses this week who have had some issues with the city of Homestead and the bidding process. One vendor who signs up for one specific item or a certain area is getting bid requests for relay protection systems, and it has nothing to do with his business. So I think we need to have that discussion, and I asked for that list last week. If we can get that forwarded to all of us here in the next couple of weeks, I'd appreciate that prior to this meeting.
Certainly.
And lastly, please fix the microphones and the sound system in this room. I hate having to lean over like this to talk. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. My one agenda item of business is need your confirmation of Vice Mayor Fletcher's nominee to the Faith and Community-Based Organization Advisory Board of Pastor Gerald Lacoste. All right, very good. I just want to again reiterate, and to council members, if you don't have the PDF of the invitation, Jeanette has it. Ask her for it so you can circulate it to those who you wish to, personally invite. But just a reminder that on Monday morning, the 25th, Dr. Ayakwaba, who will very quickly just be known throughout town as Ziri, will take over as city manager. We are having an installation ceremony honoring him here in these chambers at 6 o'clock on that Thursday evening, followed by a reception in the City Hall foyer. We'll formally thank all of the sponsors of that reception at that time, and good things are ahead. I know if any of you happen to hear about or see the going away presentation they had for him at the City of Miami Commission meeting before their last meeting, it was very heartfelt and moving, and I'm hopeful that we can give him a welcome befitting of the farewell that he received at the City of Miami. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? So moved, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Good night.